For 60 years, we have been by your side.
Building our country, transforming our economy, and leading the region.
You have trusted us to be your voice, and we'll continue to stand with you as you create, assemble, and manufacture to keep Kenya moving.
Together, we shall continue to impact the social economic growth of the country.
We appreciate you, we value. As the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, we say Asante.
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 Asante sana, you may have your seats. I love how the anthem ends up with Raha tupate na ustawi, prosperity. That's what we're looking for today. So guys, welcome to the Women and Youth Bankability Conference by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. And we're going to be your co-hosts for this morning leading into the afternoon.
Yes, my name is Ndiro Ganga. I am a business journalist with Metropole TV. And as I had said earlier, people never know business journalists because people think business is boring. But on the contrary, today might change people's minds, right?
They need to have their minds changed because business, that's where the money is. And I'll be your co-host for the morning as well. My name is Charlie Karomi, TV and radio host. I'm an actor you probably saw somewhere or probably didn't, but welcome to the Villa Rosa Kempinski, and welcome to you if you're watching us from home, from all over the world. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube, Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Guys, if you take a photo, if you share anything online today, hashtag WIMKE, that is Women in Manufacturing Kenya, and also hashtag
skills come in. Bankability is the ability of a financial institution to be able to give you money or a facility at a reasonable interest rate. It's risk and reputation.
Amepata Japata. What do you guys say? Do you guys believe she's gotten it? If you're watching us from home, please comment up below, but that is correct. That's what we're looking at today. So to begin, we have a few key guests who are about to grace us with their presence and their words of advice over here. We have to start with the boss lady herself. You know who I'm talking about. She's a sterling example of leadership up IV. This lady has multiple diplomas and masters huku hivi. She's trained in she's worked in planes. There was a time she was working with planes. She's worked with lawyers huko hivo. And now she is the CEO herself of the Kenya Association of Manufacturing. I'm talking about Madam Phyllis Wakiaga. Welcome her to the stage, guys.
A round of applause for Phyllis.
What's the microphone? Just that. There we go. Perfect.
Is it on now?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, and I'm really happy and excited to see all of you. I think for me, COVID has been a season of being grateful because you have seen the statistics around the world, and when they say that about 1 million people have lost their lives, I think all of us in this room have to be thankful and grateful that we are still here today. So it's really a pleasure to see all of you. And for those joining us on Facebook Live, on the different platforms, we welcome you to this conference today. We hope that you're keeping well. We hope that you're having a very good Friday and that you're enjoying the day. So as the team said, we are here today to discuss two important agendas that we are keen about supporting at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. One of them is women and the other is youth, and I'm both of them. I'm both youth and women. Yeah, so I think a good representation for the conversation today. So I'll start by just appreciating the presence of everyone here, but I'll give a special mention to the former chair of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, the first lady chair of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and currently the chair of the Anti-Counterfeit Agency. Also, Dr. Korir will join us later from the Ministry of Youth, the State Department of Youth. All the other dignitaries, I know MSEA is represented, the youth agenda is represented here. Thank you for being with us. It's a great pleasure to be here to discuss the issue of bankability of women in the manufacturing sector and also of youth. We had a session this month, a strategy session with Sunny Bindra, and he gave us a very interesting statistic. How many or what percent of youth, what percentage of people do you think are aged below the age of 55? Who can guess? I'll just give a quick straw poll. Between 50 to 60% below the age of 55. Who thinks below 50 to 60? 60 to 70%? 60 to 70, I'm seeing a few hands going up, about 6 hands. 70 to 80? A majority have gone up. 80 to 90 in case? 90 to 100? Okay, interesting. 93% of Kenyans are aged below the age of 55. So I think that tells us how important the youth agenda is. Anyway, so businesses around the globe are always planning for the future, and what better way to do it than through inclusion and diversity? Sandra Piachi, the Chief Executive Officer of Alphabet Inc. and its subsidiary Google, said, "A diverse mix of voices leads to better discussions, decisions, and outcomes for everyone. Inclusion and diversity are some of the key pillars of sustainability. And as an association, we want to drive sustainability and the future of industry. They help us get a wider perspective of the world around us and also immense value to decision making and promoting innovation. I think if we have diversity at the table, we will have better decisions, better organizations, and better countries." So the participation of women and youth is critical in driving economic growth, and understanding their representation in the sector, addressing the challenges they face, and sealing the gaps that inhibit their participation is really paramount. And as an association, we continue to advocate for inclusive manufacturing to ensure that we leave no one behind through the establishment of policies and also incentives that encourage women and young people to be key players in the value and supply chains in our countries. So today, I know our session will really be focusing on how we can increase the participation of women and youth in the manufacturing sector through finance. And with the different stakeholders in the financial sectors, we'll be getting their insights, their thoughts, and also from the youth and the women joining this discussion on how to address this issue. I'm also not alive to the, I want to mention that we are alive to the fact that youth and women are different and their needs are different. So we really want, as we have this conversation, to hear from both sides of the equation on what would be required for them to have products that really make them more bankable so that we can have financial inclusion and also capital and support for the growth of the manufacturing sector. So thank you. I'm looking forward to an exciting discussion. We encourage you to post your questions, your comments, and see how we can drive this conversation to a better sector and more bankability for both women and youth. Thank you very much, and have a blessed day.
Phyllis, just before you walk off stage, Charlie has just shared with me a question that has been shared on our social media platforms with regards to today's conversation. And you've said that about a huge percentage of Kenyans are below 55, about 80% of Kenyans are below the age of 35. Why is it important to bank on this demographic?
For me, it's important because they are not only the future, they are the current. And if we are not banking on this demographic, we are really leaving out over 80% of our population from the conversation, from the dialogue, from driving the social economic transformation of our country. So it's important that we have this dialogue and engage and involve them in these conversations.
Phyllis, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We want to invite our next guest on stage, but before we do, Phyllis has set the stage on just putting some statistics on the ground. Now, according to the Women in Manufacturing report, if you look at the workforce in Kenya, women only account for 36%. And then it goes on to say women only account for 17% of the total workforce in the manufacturing sector as of 2018. So up next on stage is the chairperson of Women in Manufacturing from CAM, Ms. Flora Mutahi, to just put into perspective how do we set the pace for women and girls to take up space in the manufacturing sector. A round of applause.
Am I on? Good morning again. Sounds much better. And karibuni. So you, Msea Henry Riadha, is he here? No, anyway, expecting him. Youth Agenda CEO, Kevin Kea. Our CEO of CAM, Phyllis. Ladies and gentlemen, again, good morning. So we're very excited today to discuss bankability and youth in the country. And where did this really come from? The biggest statistics we've always found is we want to start business, but we don't have money. We want to start business, we don't know how to go about it. And in fact, we were just talking with Kevin right now, and he's saying he spends a lot of time showing youth opportunities, where they are, and how to basically access these opportunities. And one of them, of course, is money. And I think he got to venture capitalists and he said, you know, he connects them with youth. And I'm like, are we sure we know what we are doing? Because they come in, yes, they've got something to say and they've got good products that they bring. But first of all, I always tell youth is get your business going. Use your own resources, you know, beg, borrow, steal, reinvest. And then when you have a good business, then you can go to these guys. Because if you go, I tend to find, and my problem is not these guys, my problem is our mentality towards it. Because what we do is we wait. We have this beautiful, we know we can do this. But we are waiting to find that big amount of money to then go and start. Start however small. Start small packets. Borrow from here, take here, and then you go. So that's my only issue around bankability. And that's why, and hence the birth of this, where we said, let's also talk to the banks and see and let them also tell us, and also any other financial institutions, what do they have available? Because when I started my business, I was of the beg, borrow, steal, take from here, give to Peter, give to Paul. I always crack a joke and say I used to bounce 5 checks a day and feel nothing, because first of all, the charges were 300. Bobby didn't kill me. But today you can't do that. So really today, if you really want to start a good business, you have to know a lot. And the other reason that this came about is also because I feel also the financial institutions don't know how to help SMEs. They want to help the youth, but they have no clue. Because I can tell you one thing for free, I still insist I'm youth anyway, but we don't think the same. We don't value the same things. We don't see life in the same manner. So it is important for us to keep challenging and having conversations with them so that they can connect with us. I keep telling a story of Ethiopia. They have there's a bank that now has a loan that is done on a psychometric test. So I do a test and they just say, oh, Flora is genuine, doesn't lie, is loyal, and they'll give you a loan based on that. And I think the day we get our banks to start thinking like that, I think that is the day then we'll really know these conversations are going somewhere. So basically, women and youth face unique structural, cultural, and historical challenges that hinder them from venturing into the manufacturing sector. Of course, we're very passionate about manufacturing. And when we did a statistic, in fact, we used to sit with the management and we're like, let's get women entrepreneurs in manufacturing. And we would count on our hands. We don't bring in the toes and everything else. So we're like, no. Let's actually find out. So we of our partners, and we realized it is bad. It is bad, from the women entrepreneurs to also women who work in manufacturing. And then you get the ones who work in manufacturing for years. But when they leave, they never say, I want to be a manufacturer. They go to consultancy. Why? Of course, because manufacturing, you have you have to build, you have to get your your idea, which is you churn out ideas like a problem. I have no doubt about that one. But your machinery, you have to invest in capital, and I think this is where it becomes difficult. And then from that, then you have to get your raw material. Whereas if you are going into trading, it's very easy. Get on a plane, maybe go to China, Dubai, somewhere, bring your things, sell, get your money. But you are trying to say, if you look at any economy that grows and grows deeply, it is driven by manufacturing. And that's why we are very, very keen to actually have women manufacturers grow in this space. I have built my business, Melvin's Tea, over 25 years in what was a male-dominated world. But I didn't know. I mean, to me, I was just doing business. And then I remember about several years later, IFC came with big cameras and they started saying, how do you survive in this male-dominated world? And I was looking at them like, oh, okay, if you insist. I had not even noticed. And that is what we want. We want, like we said, this diversity and inclusion. We want people not even to realize that there is this. Of course, I understand their gender biases. I guess I was just blind to them. But that's all. We want to see how much we can clear, and see how many women in manufacturing we can actually grow and support. So CAM established the program, like I said, to really do this and to support women. And last month, as you heard, we launched this report. And the whole idea is to continue to advocate the strategy to mainstream equality and inclusion in the sector. And from the report, of course, we noticed women were sidelined by issues like lack of capital. You see, like now, when I wanted to borrow money 25 years ago, I was only employed for 9 months, so I had no reserves, I had no plan. And I thought the world belongs to me. So what did I do for? I found that was funded, I think, by IFC, a growth fund where they said if you put up security, they will give you double. But that is of the assumption that as a youth I have security. And of course I didn't. So what did I mean, I didn't know what to do. I went round. I am twisted my mother to put up something. But she went to the bank and she said, I will put this up, you lend her, she pays you, and let her not touch mine. You know, I thank her today because that actually made me very strong. Had I been given, I can assure you I would not be standing here. I would be doing other things, or I would probably have quit because maybe it was too easy. So capital finance is an important thing, and that's exactly what we are doing here. Appropriate business development services. When I was looking for machinery, I went around the market and I saw we didn't have free-flowing salt. You know the salt that flows freely from the shaker. So what I said, this is what I'm going to give the market. And I knew I'm going to be a millionaire. I mean, I was so green. So I went to the University of Nairobi. I learned how to make it. And I met a professor. He was bored. I think this is Kabete campus. So he said, do you know food technology? I said, no, I studied accounting. He's like, so what do you want to do in this space? I said, I want to make it. And I see an opportunity in this market. So he told me to come every afternoon. So for three weeks in the afternoon, I went and he taught me about mixing, principles about food. And so he said, now we need a machine called a ribbon mixer. Because it's salt, it has to be made of stainless steel. I still remember 316. So I'm like, where am I supposed to get that? So he said, I don't know. Now beyond here, you're on your own. So again, I walked the market until I found an organization that actually has engineers that help youth incubate the ideas. So I gave them this idea and I said, I just need an engineer to design this ribbon mixture of this many kilos, and it needs to do this. And I sort of now knew just, that basic whatever. So this engineer actually, Sepso, somebody said that. So this engineer actually sketched it for me, and I went to industry area and I had my machine made. So these business development services are important. What CAM is doing, the SME incubation, whatever, feel no shame. Come and ask and ask and ask. If there's anything I'm very good at, is asking when I don't know. Another challenge that we have is absence of professional and technical human resources. Hiring. I keep laughing where I tell people I could very easily hire, but I couldn't fire. When somebody's not performing, I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know that you have performance appraisals. I didn't know that you sit with people and you tell them, I expect you to do this. I didn't even know much about JDs. Because to me, when I want to do something, I do it. And I was not understanding why these people not understanding me. And the other thing I realized is I'm also not a good communicator because I'm so much in a hurry to bring my product to market that I don't even communicate what I want from these people. So again, having a place where you can actually come and say, I'm having a human resource challenge. Can I speak to a professional? That's what these organizations do for you. And, foundational challenge is slowing the growth of women in manufacturing. This is actually what these things do. So while government initiatives encourage enterprise development, most women in manufacturing have reported difficulties in accessing funds to expand their business. That is no secret. On the other hand, the youth are not adequately enabled to participate in our country's socio-economic and political development. They have many reasons for this, some of which are unemployment. I was employed for 9 months. Remember, I didn't save, so I'm just as bad as the one who just wakes up and decides to get in. But an intelligent youth today would start putting aside something, especially if they want to go into entrepreneurship. That also assumes that you're going to get a job. But jobs are not forthcoming anymore. So these days I actually encourage youth and tell them, have no fear. When I was telling my college master, I remember that I was not sure what I wanted to do, but I knew all the careers that are listed in any college list, I knew I didn't want. But entrepreneurship in my time, which is 25 years ago, was not there. So business, I don't know, was assumed I don't know where ownership was. Maybe it was there and I just didn't see it, but that word entrepreneurship, it came a little later. So basically, we understand that, we don't have jobs, underemployment, lack of skills, lack of necessary institutional supports. All these are important. And it calls for all stakeholders to come together, and that's what we are doing here today. So the WIM program aims to do this. It aims to grow, challenge, mentor women industries to scale up and to enhance the abilities of women to take up leadership positions. Because the other thing we did find is, do you know, if I ask you to think of 10 women who do something, a side hustle, you will come up with 10. And I can bet you 7 of those 10 are manufacturing. Somebody could be doing just sweaters. When a new baby is born, they take sweaters. That is a possible industry. Somebody makes crisps in the evening and they sell in the neighborhood. Somebody goes and katas these burgers and takes them around. All these are manufacturing ideas. So women don't even realize that they are at the bottom of manufacturing, and they can scale it. And another reason we also found is women get into business to maybe, I don't want to work, I want to be able to have time for my family. So when you sort of pay a little bit of your bills, you don't think about scaling and want to challenge women. And what we do is we take sometimes our women and we go to large organizations, multinationals, and we sit with those CEOs and ask them, how do you do it and how did you do it? And so when you see big and when you see size, you're very, very able to say, one day I want to get there. And we keep challenging people and telling them, guys, let women also learn to scale businesses. It's not enough to say, I pay my bills, I've taken my child through college, I'm not going to insist on a big college. No. Let us actually do like the men do. Do you know it is said that men start businesses to grow big? Women start businesses to survive. We need to change that narrative. Why can't our businesses be big? Why can't I stand with those gentlemen in the room and say, I can do this? And a lot of it is just cultural norms. And when women are aggressive, they're told, no, huyo ni mkali. That one won't get a husband. I was told that all the time, by the way. I started my business before I got married. When I used to go and start selling my product, I would get a lecture for half an hour. How old are you? Why are you doing this? You'll never get married. Why didn't you get a job? There's nothing I was not told. And I'll just laugh at all these guys. I'm married with 3 children, very happy. So guys, don't listen to the narrative. STEM education is another one. When you're choosing your grades in school, your subjects, it is almost told law, history, nini. And when you start saying I like sciences, it is almost automatic. You're being pushed in another direction. And that is another place where women in manufacturing, we are going to go to those schools and career masters and say, hey, why aren't you allowing these people to come out? Why aren't you allowing them to be the scientists and actually really grow into what they can be? I think these cultural norms and everything just need to be taken apart. And we actually say, let's have equality. I think we are born almost equal. I think it's 50. I think it's 51.2 or something like that, male to female. It's not anything drastic. But as you climb up the ladder, we tend to find that there are some careers women steer away from. So the association also runs technical vocational programs through GIZ aimed at improving access to jobs and economic opportunities. Of course, we understand not everybody will make it to college. And if you ask me, I believe there's a huge opportunity in technical courses. Today, if you look at any development, I have a little interest in real estate, you'll tend to find plumbing, electrical, very poorly done. Not because guys don't know what to do, there are not enough skilled people. So if you look at the first world, technical and vocational jobs are very, very well paid. So we need to get to that, we need to get there. So basically, women and youth are making strides in building and promoting the sector and the economy at large, and we must seek to actually adopt manufacturing processes and cultures that encourage women and youth to take it up. As we advance in Industry 4.0, operations will shift from manual to automated. What does that mean? We have to retool, we have to reskill. Women need to get comfortable with programming and coding and AI and everything else. And there's no reason why not. But again, you probably tend to find them gravitating away from it. So we must deliberate to help building the capacities of both women and youth to take up these new roles, which will enhance the sector's productivity. If you look at Africa as a whole, do you know we've leapfrogged because of our what do you call it? What's this whole M-Pesa? Now I'm going blank. Yeah, because of our fintech and our and the depth that we are actually mobile, whatever is penetrated, we are actually going to be able to leapfrog. So the more we get youth into tech, they are going to solve a lot of the problems. And tech in manufacturing, tech in agriculture, tech in everything that we do, guys, will leapfrog. We don't have to go through all the phases. We don't have to finish the industrial phase. We can now quickly go into the technical phase. So unfortunately, the financial sector has limitations. We've talked about that. And engaging youth enriches institutions and processes. So as I conclude, I'd like to say inclusivity, diversity are shared responsibilities, and their role in an organization cannot be underestimated. This is also true for the manufacturing sector, which is a key pillar of the country's development. So we endeavor to partner with the government, like-minded organizations, to realize this agenda while realizing our industrial goals as a nation. But guys, this is for you. So it needs to be by you. Because if you leave it to us, you hear, I'm talking about my experiences 25 years ago. Some relevant, some have been overtaken. If we don't hear what your pain is, these guys and those guys and the banks and fintech and everybody will continue to make any business sense to you people. So we need to hear you. We need to hear what your pain is. Also study what other people do and bring to the banks and say, this is what other people do. For me, I'm going to, for the bankers in the room, why can't we give loans on psychometric testing? I have borrowed for the last 20 years. Till today, when I walk into a bank, I'm new. I'm customer 00. I'm not customer 00, whatever I was 25 years ago. I'm new. I'm not given any favoritism. The fact that I have never, for 25 years, 20 years, is when, no, sorry, after 10 years. And that's another failure of women. We fear loans. For the first 10 years, it's like, I don't want. There's nothing to fear if you use the money properly. Nothing to fear. So even as we have Mr. Kevin of Youth Agenda now coming, giving us solutions, tell him your problems. Because if you don't deal with the right problem, in business they actually say, even in life, if you don't ask the right problem, you will never solve the right answer. You'll never get the right answer. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your youth conference and have a good day.
Asante sana, Madam Flora. Before you leave the stage, just 1 minute. I'm telling you, Kenja need to run some wires here. The amount of power in that talk you just had, it's absolutely power. That could power a whole village in my sides of Murang'a for a while. I just want to ask you, you've told us a lot about your journey. A lot of questions that are coming through on our YouTube and Facebook because they know what you've done in the past. They are really inspired. A lot of questions are on your journey and how you borrowed in the beginning or how you got started in terms of finances. But allow me the opportunity. That's a joke on T because she manufactures Melvins. Are we together? Opportunity. Are we together? People aren't getting my jokes today.
It's early.
But
It's early.
allow me the opportunity to ask you this. If you are to maybe summarize, because there are banks here, I'm seeing Corp Bank is here, ABSA is here, KCB. If you are to summarize the things that we need to do, as the bankers, what are like 2 or 3 things they have to make sure they do? And us as young people and also the women in the audience who are looking to start, what are the things that they have to do? In summary.
All right. That's psychometric. Give me a loan based on my psychometric.
Yes.
I think what they need to do really is to come out with tools that make it doable for youth to actually begin a business. For example, if you go and get an order, I'm seeing a lot of orders around face masks. So assume you've gotten an order to actually deliver that. Why can't I take that to my bank within a couple of minutes, have LPO financing done? It's there, but there are forms, there are these, there's a percentage, there's a lot going on. So let's have a lot of that. Let's have stock loan financing. They are there. But a lot of these things are not told to the youth early enough, and they're not walked through. When you want to, you can come and say, okay, I'm making sanitizers. I need some money to buy the bottles. I need some money to buy the this, that, and the other. Again, it should be easy. Here's a stock loan based on this. There's too much request on collateral lending. Show me a plot, show me this, show me that. We don't have, and I think as youth you don't have. The other thing I would say. That one is more around to a message to the youth. When you want to work, remember your reputation is everything. So go to also your suppliers, explain to them what you're doing. Please don't give them your contacts because they might do the business. But explain to them what you're doing and say, allow me credit for this period. I need to just go and then I bring back my money. I also tend to find we fear too much. You remember suppliers credit is one of the easiest ways that you can actually fund a business. But the other thing is also go to the businesses and ask them, as you get the business, can you pay me upfront? I don't have the money, I'm a youth, but I have the resources. That's another way. Banks, another thing banks could do is also help incubate these the youth. Sometimes they don't have a business advocacy place where they can go and learn. I mean, I remember before I took my first loan, I was told I have to have a business plan. I'm looking at this person and thinking, I remember that in college, but I have no clue how to really write it. So I went back and pulled my documents, although then I found another organization that helped me, that walked me through. Banks can do that. So for me, what it is really let your banker be your partner. Let them know where you're supplying. Let them come up with models where they can actually do that. Another one is... what do they call it? Debenture financing. So you can come and say, I have one machine, a sewing machine. It costs 100,000. I have this. I have that. Take a debenture charge on what your assets are, and lend you money, and get into a system of borrowing and paying and borrowing and paying and borrowing and paying. In fact, the easiest I hear these days now is I think is it Fuliza. They say you can build your credit with Fuliza, but it could be a little bit pricey. Why can't we do that with banks where it might be a little bit cheaper? So if Fuliza is taking that, whatever, and the KYC on Fuliza is perhaps your ID, why aren't banks taking those kind of risks? Why are we having to go to fintechs to take those kind of risks? This rigidity of the banks needs to change. They'd really, I would want to ask them to be your partner, listen to you, come in and give you a solution. Fortunately for me, when I go to banks where when I give them my problem, they help me come up with a solution. And if your bank is not doing that, that is not your bank.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Charlie will go around to see if there are any questions from the audience. But just to pick up from what you've said, I know credit scores are very important and you've been borrowing for a long time. Do you think also that can be used in terms of lending to some of these businesses? If you're a youthful person and you've been diligent in your loan repayment, then we can start using the credit score.
Yes, credit score could be important. And another thing they could perhaps look at is references. I remember when I became, you remember I was bouncing 5 checks in a day. One of my suppliers told me, let me tell you something. This is not going to continue. So I told him, let me do this. And I thought quickly, then I said, let me bring you my other partner. So I brought in my, when I was registered business, that time you could only register 2 people. So I brought in my mother. But again, she came there and she said, I'm here. She should pay all her bills, but just in case, just know I'm here. So again, banks could start asking for guarantors, where I can come and say, I know this person, she's my cousin, she should not mess up, keep me in the loop, but I can stand for her. That also is another thing that I think the bankers could do. But again, that would come from partnerships.
Finally, before I cross over to Charlie, I want you to talk to women and also the youth. According to the Women in Manufacturing report, a lot of businesses, about 90% owned businesses by women, are informal in nature. Why is it important that women formalize their businesses?
It is true. It is important because then, we need women to scale. Like I said, there are various reasons these women start businesses. Like I perhaps live in a certain area, my child goes to school there, I don't want to be too far, so I start this business, this is my local community. But we want them to think bigger and scale, and that would mean then you start formalizing your business, going to the bank. When I come to the bank and I say, I'm Flora, uko na kampuni, no, but lend me money, they'll tell me go to Fuliza, So, but when I'm formal, limited liability, there's a little bit more security, a little bit more seriousness. When I go to, the government, this is one of the countries in the world that has AGPO, and our PS now has a little bit about that. Have you ever had a place where a government is saying 30% of anything we buy will come from youth and women? And guess what? Do you know what the uptake is? It's like, I don't know what the real statistic is, but there's one board I sit on. We're lucky if we get to 17% of the 30. But there's also another cultural thing of saying, the women. No, when I challenge, they say, flowers, stationery. So there's already a cultural bias that we need to beat. So why can't women come and sit with any organization, any government, whatever, and say, this, you guys buy this. My uncle works here, this one I can sort, this one I can do. Get into one and really find it out, go and learn. Because I also think we are sitting back here and expecting offers. We are expecting to be supported because we are youth, because we are women. Guys, let me tell you, I didn't get here by sitting back and waiting for no one. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So you need to fight it. And you will have all these biases saying, that one is for men, that one is for whatever. I love it when I see women engineers, when I see, women really breaking ceilings. Because that's what the rest of the women need to believe that. Yeah. So formalization is important, to be taken seriously. You cannot do that government AGPO if you're Flora Incorporated. No, you need to be somebody serious. You need to have 3 years in business. So learn to just do your accounting. And yes, then you'll say, I don't have money. Get a Saturday accountant, somebody who will do, and then your turnover then becomes something serious. I don't want to pay my tax. Why don't you want to pay your taxes? Pay your taxes and grow. What are you saving? So staying under the radar is not necessarily a plus. Formalization has its costs, formalization has its challenges, but I think it has way bigger benefits of being taken seriously and being able to scale your businesses.
Thank you so much, Flora. Charlie?
Asante sana. The good thing, guys, asante sana, Madam Flora. You can have your seat. Thank you so much. We're still at the Women and Youth Bankability Conference by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. And the good thing I love about the Kempinski is that the fire extinguishing is on point because the stage is on fire with the talks that we're getting. And also we have someone here who's the chief of the Order of the Burning Spear. He just walked into the building. And this is a man who is so invested in matters of the youth that even his Twitter handle, someone is serious about it when it's in his Twitter handle. The Twitter handle is jkorir_youth. This is a man who is very invested in matters youth. He is the principal secretary in the State Department for Youth. Welcome to the stage, Bwana Julius Korir. Round of applause, guys. Karibu sana, sir.
I thought he's yet to finish. I hope I'm just standing and then I go.
Oh, no, you have to speak to the people.
Okay.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I was not able to start with you, but I just came in time for my slot and just to hear the great Madame talking. I've known her for can't remember how long. Actually, when she was a hustler, when she started, she was packing her teas in like a back room somewhere. And she took us, that time I was very active in export promotion. And we were looking for any indigenous person to help to grow. So we went and we were like, God, will she make it? And looking at her now and looking at her brand all over the shops, when I am looking for spice tea or herbal tea, I just know it's Melvin. And I hope all of you also know Melvin. Actually, the lady who was standing here is the owner of that brand, Melvin Teas. So that is how far I've known her. When the Melvin tea was nothing, up to now when it is something that it is fighting for space and kicking out the big brands like Atepa, like Kerichoti and others, Abadea. So it's a great pleasure and honor to stand with Flora here. Santi, Madam CEO for KM. I think also we've known each other for quite a while, and we are glad that we are in this journey together of empowerment. I was in industry where we worked very closely. The transformation that you're seeing in our Kenya industrial space, manufacturing space, I think is high efforts and hours when we were in government, in the State Department, making sure that manufacturing receives attention by government, working on tariff and non-tariff barriers, making sure that we harmonize our tax policies so that it becomes cheap to manufacture locally and export. The irony at that time was that it was easier to import than to produce locally. But we started a discourse which reached Treasury, reached the President, and things have improved. Not yet there, but I think it is going on. So it's a great pleasure for me to be with you today and looking at the topic or the theme, which is Women and Youth Bankability Conference. I think this is come at the right time. And for me, it's an honor and privilege to stand before you in this important conference. Women and youth are the backbone of our society. I think when you look at the statistics in Kenya, that attest to that. They constitute more than half of the world's population, and their roles and contributions are very essential in a nation, as if a nation is to produce and become prosperous. For any society to succeed, it has its women and youth must be uplifted and empowered. And I think if you look at our government, that is our goal and that is our objective. Pursuant to the executive order that was released recently, the State Department for Youth is mandated, among other things, to promote youth empowerment, mainstream youth in national development, and harness the development of youth talents for national development. So that is our objective, that is our mandate, and we go our way to ensure that young people are empowered. As a department and personally, I have great passion for economic empowerment for the youth of this country. Since I took office early last year, that is a year ago, my desire has been to see to it that youth have access to decent jobs, are self-employed, or they are decent jobs, and also they can run businesses which are successful, as well as also they have an opportunity to exploit their talents. And that has been my rallying call with wherever I go, that we want to see young people getting decent jobs and also running successful businesses, as well as also exploiting their talents for their economic development and also for the country's development. So I don't know if many of you, those who are in the youth space, have heard my mantra, which I say, pesa kwa mifuko ya vijana. I think that is what I've been saying wherever I go, because there's nothing as good as pesa kwa mifuko kwa vijana, because it gives you independence. It gives you ability to do and plan yourself. But without it, you are not able to do anything. And that's why even as we go into this political season, we really want to see our young people get off being used and being mobilized to do the wrong thing. And if we can all go out and enable young people to put money into their pockets, they'll not be available to be given 50 shillings to go and cause mayhem in a political rally. So I think that for us as a State Department is what we are pursuing. We have been keen to enhance collaboration and oversight of the stakeholders engaged in youth promotion activities. And recently we've just signed an MOU with KM. And the main thing is, how do we mentor, nurture young people into manufacturing sector? Because Kina Flora very soon will be selling, their businesses will be multinationals. But we need to grow others. So Flora, you see her faith in you. Yeah, multinational. You know, right now you are in an international business, but soon you will be a multinational. I did a bit of international business, so I know the difference between being in international business and being a multinational. So grow and then create room for others. And we want, and pull others. And we want to use you to mentor. I've seen so many young ladies here who would want to hear the story that I've just told. I hope you said it in your own words. So this was a bystander. Na sikusikia kama alisema, ajaniambia. Me, I just said what I know about her. So I hope we are collaborating in our stories. Yes. So our partnership with KM is to see how we can promote youth in manufacturing. How do we nurture them? How do we mentor them? And we have a series of programs we've lined up where we want to train them, give them even boards where they will be advisory boards, so that they see how a big company runs, how you get advice and support from brains that have done similar things, so that you can grow and diversify your knowledge base. So the purpose of the MOU, as I've said, is to empower economically the Kenyan youth and facilitate their participation in the nation building through enterprise development, technical and vocational skills development, advocacy and promotion of locally manufactured products, apart from them being the manufacturers. In Kenya, I think from the statistics that were released last year, our youth are about 13.8 million, and it's been growing. And they account for about 29% of the total population, according to the housing survey. It would be most unwise to ignore this segment then of the population, which is our strength, wealth, and drivers of innovation and talent. And I think if you go to many of these innovation labs in Nairobi, you find people from all over the world coming to tap into that knowledge, into that vibrant energy that is possessed by our young people. If you want to try a new idea, the story out there is that go to Nairobi. You'll meet young people with their phones and their laptops, and they'll be able to help you innovate and bring a product to market. Now, the thing now, I think, and through our partnership with KM, we want to see how can those ideas be harnessed. And then instead of hearing a brand, and then unaambiwa inatoka UK or wherever, it is an innovation that is home-based, homegrown, and it is globally accepted. So those are the things that we want to work with KM and other partners. Through my department, the government of Kenya has undertaken a number of initiatives to promote women and youth. And one of them is on the provision of financial resources to youth who are involved in value addition activities such as processing through the Youth Enterprise Fund. Since 2007, this fund has cumulatively disbursed about 13 billion shillings as startup capital for young people. We have reduced the turnaround time for loan application to less than a week for group loans, and less than a month for individual loans. So those of you guys who have an idea, you don't have startup capital, come, we will be able to work with you. We are currently engaging with Post Bank so that we can come up with non-asset-based collateral, so that if you have a small saving account with Post Bank, then we will use that as a collateral to give you loan. So we are working out on the mechanism, and we should be through in another 2 or 3 weeks. So that is, again, trying to innovate, because initially we were not supposed to be asking for collaterals, but people used to get the money and disappear. And then they deprive of the next lot of an opportunity to get money. So we said we will be asking for asset collaterals, either logbook, title deed, but you know that is an issue among the young people. They don't have land, they don't have assets of, let's say, vehicles and all that, so they may not be able to do that. So they would depend either on their parents or goodwill to get them. But now we are saying we want to innovate also as a State Department. That's why, with a partnership with Post Bank, if those of you were in the university during our time, we had a passbook. And actually it is the first bank in Kenya to have branchless banking. I remember you get your boom, you deposit in Kitale, that's where I grew up, and I would withdraw in Mombasa. If you were in cooperative or in KCB, you would be told, okay, sit there, we want to call your branch to confirm if they have money. But with my passbook, 5 minutes, I withdraw my money and I go. So that is a partner that we want to work with on coming up with non-asset-based collateral for loans. But if you want to buy machines, we can give you a maximum of 2.5 million as an individual, and that machine become our collateral. So we don't have to ask you for another collateral. So guys, think big. We have money under the youth fund and a maximum individual loan of 2.5, and when you repay, you come back again for another loan. The other affirmative action fund by government is WEZO and Women Enterprise Fund, and also there's the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, which is run through the women rep of every county. And all these are meant to provide cheap startup capital for people, that is youth, women, and people with disabilities. So with that, I think as a young person or as a lady, you have no excuse to say that there is no money. You have no excuse to say there is no opportunity for you. Again, I think I had Flora talking about ACPO, which is Access to Government Procurement Opportunities. I want to report that my State Department, I'm 98% ACPO compliant. All what I procure is youth, I think, and women. Very little do I procure from other big companies. Why? I want to preach and drink water. And that is what I'm doing. So, and I'm actually currently working on a program to rate the performance of MDAs, that is ministries and government agencies, on their performance on our ACPO, so that you can tell who is fulfilling the president's pledge to promote the disadvantaged and who is not. I think Flora mentioned quite a number of things on the issue of ACPO. It's been a challenge, and there are so many perceptions and misconceptions that, one, if you're a young person or if you're a lady, you don't have the technical expertise. So you can only be told to bring water, flowers, and paper, photocopier paper, all those things, and newspaper. But when I was in State Department for Infrastructure, there are about 5 contractor ladies whom I gave work over $1 billion. And they did so well that I couldn't believe it. You've heard of the First Oil Road, this road from Lokichar to the field where they are mining oil. It was a rough road. And because we wanted to evacuate oil, the first oil, very fast, we gave that contract to a lady, and the contract was about 1.2 billion. And she delivered in record time. less than 60% of the time that we had budgeted for. She did so well. The road is so good. I've driven on it. You cannot imagine that this was done by a lady. And when she was delivering that road, she went through a lot of problems. One, there was the swelling of the river in what do you call this, Pokot. There was, you remember the bridge that nearly collapsed. Her lorry with cement went, but she had the resilience and she delivered on that, whatever. So there are so many cases of ladies who have done very well, and I think the story now which we are doing is how do we profile such ladies so that they can be known to be delivering on big jobs. There are youth also who are doing road construction, and they're doing a great job. So I think for us, what we need to do is to create a platform where we can showcase such capacities, so that nobody has an excuse to say that the ACPO beneficiaries are only meant for the low-key contracts. As a ministry, again, we are promoting government procurement opportunities on the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, and I think that one we are very keen to see that we buy more of Kenyan products so that we can grow jobs, we can grow wealth and prosperity. We have another program which we call Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities Project, and this is funded by World Bank, and it is meant to give young people employment opportunities as well as also learning opportunities through apprenticeship, and we are working very closely with KM and other people. You've heard of the Kazi Mtaani. This is again a social protection program to give and protect young people who were affected by COVID, and I think we are also using the same platform to train them on entrepreneurship. And as we are talking, we are targeting 280,000 youth who are benefiting, and already we've trained about 150 of them. And as of last week, about 50 of, we have about 500 groups formed, which now they want to start businesses. So you can see we are taking advantage of that. So we have so many other programs that government has put in place. The expansion of technical and vocational training institutions all over the country. And again, this way we want to impart skills that are necessary for industrial development and realization of manufacturing pillar Big Four agenda of increasing the manufacturing sector to about 20% of the GDP. This will also be instrumental in the realization of the Vision 2030 to transform Kenya into a newly industrialized middle-income country. Though we are already there, but we want now to go to the upper middle income. So these are just a few of the many initiatives by government, and it is my promise that we shall continue to make deliberate efforts to bring many as possible benefit women and youth. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage all of us to take advantage of the innovativeness and the energy and ambition of women and youth to draw up and provide solutions to make them fully maximize their potential. This forum has provided an opportunity to establish strategic collaborations and partnerships with you all to identify and discuss areas of intervention to promote women and youth empowerment and participation in the country. So finally, and quoting from Ifeanyi Enoch Onwoha, I think this is a Nigerian writer and exceptional entrepreneur, he said, youths are our arrows to the future. Nasikia hiyo?
Yes.
Nyinyi ndio mishale yetu ya kesho. So lazima to sharpen it so that you can go far. So it is thus incumbent upon them to make appropriate choices that will enhance the socio-economic development of our country, Kenya, and also entrepreneurship. So thank you so much, and look forward to us continuing working together. Naona uko na haraka kunitoa hapa stage.
Sikukutoa, actually, nakwambia usitoke. I'm being told there's a cup of very hot Melvin's tea waiting for you here. But before we get to that, there's a question that has come through on our YouTube that is for you specifically. Bwana Ongeri Boniface anauliza, how can we best ensure that youth and women-led SMEs get the government incentives, including interest-free loans? And I guess, what is your advice to guide them in getting that? Okay. That is the question before we let you get to the cup of Melvin's.
Okay, thank you. I think if you've, there are various ways. Okay, interest-free may be something that will take a little bit long, but if you recall recently, the president, the government through the president, sort of put a base lending rate, and that was to try and bring down the interest rates. And the interest rates have come down from as high as 20 to now around 13%. And then there's also the thing which was announced by the president as part of the COVID economic stimulus response, which was the SME credit guarantee scheme. This is meant to de-risk loans that are given to SMEs. And the regulations have been discussed. They have actually been approved by cabinet, and now they'll be tabled in parliament to be approved so that now that they can apply. The idea is that any bank that will be issuing loans to SMEs will have, each SME will open, will have a credit guarantee like an insurance, which now you go with it to a bank, and then with that, the risk, because you find that why loans to SMEs is very high is that their default rate is very high, and so the banks try to de-risk that by pricing it a little bit high. Now, when this great credit guarantee to SMEs is up and running, that risk will be removed, and then the banks will be able now to price their products at an affordable rates. And so that is one. And then the affirmative fund actions, the youth fund, Wezo fund, women enterprise.
Companies coming into the country, just to encourage more youth to get into business and to make it slightly affordable for them.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. I think when you look at the ease of doing business reforms that have been going on in government, they have been meant to reduce the burden of compliance by companies. And that's why there have been reforms to reduce the processes. There have been reforms to consolidate those licenses. And as it is now, we have a single business permit. But now, depending on especially for those products that have got public health interest, then you will now be required to go for public health and others, because again, a business permit is just to allow you to open a premise, but now there will be those requirements that are for you to deal with whatever product that you're dealing in. But the ease of doing business is addressing all that, and the idea is to reduce processes, to reduce the red tape, and also to reduce the moving from office to office. And that's why the concept of Huduma Center. And the idea is that you go to Huduma Center, you should get the county government there, you get the registrar there, you get public health over there, so that you don't have to move from place to place as an entrepreneur. And that also has an effect of reducing the cost of doing business. So those are the commitments of this government. And I think KM will tell you, 7 years ago, Kenya was number 137 globally in terms of ease of doing business. Now we are number 52, Ama? Yeah, it's around 52, which is to say we've really improved. And now it is easier to do business in Kenya than it was 9 years ago. So 7 years ago. So serikali inafanya kazi. Asante.
Asante sana Bwana PS. And guys, remember, thank you so much to the people who are watching us from all over the world on our Facebook and on our YouTube, Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Comment down below your questions because we're about to go around. We have about 5 minutes for questions between the PS and Madam Flora, Madam Phyllis. We have decades, maybe even a century of experience in everything matters, business and making money and starting up. So you need to take advantage of this opportunity. Where else are you going to be in a room like this? Ondiro, is there any other place you're going to be in a room like this?
I don't think anytime soon.
I don't think so. So tafadhali, make sure you have those questions ready. We have exactly 5 minutes. Then after that, we have our panel discussion. Very exciting and interesting. Right about now, we just want to thank one of our partners, GIZ. They're in collaboration with us to bring you this, the Women and Youth Bankability Conference. Also the banks here and the Bankers Association. We are seeing KCB and we're seeing Cooperative Bank. Asante sana and ABSA as well. Thank you so much for coming through. Right about now, we have about 4 minutes for questions. So if you have a question and you're in the audience right now, we will be walking to you, but maybe you can start with one from our online platforms. And this one is from DJ Kelv to Flora. He's asking, how do we get creative with collateral? Kenyan youth will struggle to get this. Creative with collateral.
If I understand correctly, how do we support collateral? Yes. Go around it? Yes. Okay, I think first of all, the PS has spoken about the credit guarantee. Like I was saying, there is the debenture financing where they can, if it's an artist, he's drawn his art, right? So he knows this one is 40,000, 20,000, whatever. He can take that and use that as collateral. To continue to buy materials as he's building his business. My challenge, of course, around the psychometric. And, of course, there's invoice discounting, where you take your invoice and you discount it. There's stock loan financing, where they can actually just finance your stock and nothing else. Of course, there's there's overdraft, there's Fuliza. So there are various ways to go around it. Yeah.
I really like the one about debenture. So you have tools of your trade. There are things that you're using to work with. You can just go like, hey, my laptop, it's worth 50K, and this is what I want to do with it. Give me a loan. Okay, that is how you can get creative. DJ Kelv, if you're watching, make sure you're taking notes because a lot is being said. His equipment as a DJ, there you go, your DJ decks. Hold that up. That is your collateral over there. Ondiro, do you have another question?
Yes, we have a question from this table.
Yeah, again, my name is Joe from Wachaka. So my question is to the PS. So we know that most youths are operating in a chaos economy, per se, which is to say that they'll try out something, it won't work out, probably get themselves into debt. So what kind of innovations from the state that come to transcend such issues and challenges? Because I think that, to be specific, CRB will choke out most of innovative solutions that are out here. And they won't even see the light of day because you feel like you've already been set up for failure by the time you leave school.
Thank you. You said Joe, eh? Okay, thank you, Joe. I think your question is a little bit difficult to answer, but I'll try. I think why most of the young people's businesses don't thrive, especially, is, and okay, this is also, there's also a study that startups normally fail between the first and the third year, and a good number of them do fail. And when you look at why they fail, is maybe because one, the idea being brought to market was not well researched. No feasibility study was done properly to see how the product can get to market and how you can withstand some of the challenges that are in the market. So which means, which calls that if you, before you start, really just do a due diligence on your idea. Number two is the issue of the self-discipline. Again, and knowing that businesses is like a baby. You cannot get a child today and they start running tomorrow. There is a time that you really need to support it to grow until they're able to stand on their feet. And so, so it's discipline to, because what I've seen, and I'll tell you an example. There's a young person I know somewhere, got a business, and it was through LPO financing. And when the person was paid the first $1 million, this guy dashed to Mombasa to go and enjoy, only to realize that he had even not paid the LPO, that the loan that, and so they came for his neck, and he was not able to proceed. So knowing that every penny counts at the start means that you have to be self-disciplined to know how to save it, how to keep it, and reinvest it back into the business for it to grow. So there's a bit of mental preparedness. There's a bit of also sitting with the veterans who have gone through it and learn. And that's why I think with our partnership with KM, we want now to grow that aspect of mentorship so that youth can also be mentored, be guided on how to nurture and grow a startup business. I hope I've been able to answer that.
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
Flora can also add as an experience.
By the way, you answered it very, very well. I think just one other thing I would want to caution the youth is why are you starting that business? And I've tended to find people start businesses because Joe is in that business. So, hey, Joe, have you seen his career? Now he's driving. Hey, sasa akona BMW. So you go running in there. The why is very important. Remember to start a business that is demand driven. Demand means, obviously, there's a gap in the market. Today, unfortunately for you, okay, even in our time, it's very difficult to get to get into something that is unique. So use your, what I would call competitive advantage. You're young, you understand your group, it is the largest population. So today, if I was you guys, I would be starting something that the youth would be consuming because they're the largest population, but not because Flora's in tea, I want to do tea. Oh, my grandma, I remember several years ago, I got a lady coming to me and say, I want to pack this because I think it was honey. And she said, I want to pack honey because I've got some hives, I want to grow. And I said, that's okay. That's okay. But that's not going to be a deal breaker. Get something where you see an opportunity. Remember when I started my salt, there was no free-flowing salt in Kenya. When I went to do my tea, incidentally, how the whole idea of the flavored tea came is because when I went to register, some people told me they want to see me, and they said, who do you think you are? And I said, what's that supposed to mean? They said, these people have been in the market for years. How do you think you're going to wake up and succeed? And those words never left me. So then I said, I have to be different. So do not fear to walk do not walk the beaten path. Go create your own path. So I was the first one to bring flavored tea into the market, and it was hard. I mean, I laugh today. What we produce today in, I think, a week, I used to do in a year. I mean, it's crazy. It's not easy. And another thing about youth, forget shortcuts. Sijui, I'll do this, I'll do those they're called air supply. Leave shortcuts alone. It is hard to build a brand. It is hard to do business. But I guess that's why you're doing it. You want a challenge. And finally, today, if we got sick, where would you go? To hospital. Why? Because that's where the professionals are. So when you want to run a business, don't sit and koroga it in your house. Go and look for professionals where they are. Go look for SMEs, SME incubations. Go to CAM. Go to wherever you need to go. If it's fintech, those labs he's hearing. Go to anywhere. And like I said, do not fear. And go to the best. Me, by the way, I mean, I remember one time I got a lawsuit and I didn't know what to do. And I couldn't afford a lawyer. I called a partner who works there, who's a family friend. And I went and met him on a Sunday, and he actually was gracious enough to write one letter Those people left me alone. But you hear me, I was dying with my problems. So don't fear to whatever. So go to professionals. Like that guy who went to Mombasa on holiday, had he had professional support, he would not have done that. And you've had, I think you said you're going to start, there's going to be a lot of, I also believe a lot of ideas don't get off the ground because of, not money, by the way, because of the thinking through. So when you come up with a good idea, choose people who can help you. And that's why I was talking about boards. You have a lot of relatives who are retired. You know, an engineer relative of yours who is retired. Go and tell him, help me think this through. Help me think this through. And quickly get into a board situation. I call it board advisory. You don't need to have people you're necessarily paying. Just say, I have this idea. Help me commercialize this idea. Because a lot of us get into something because we're very good and technical about it, but we don't know how to commercialize. And that's another reason why businesses fail. But there are people out there who would be happy to commercialize. So get into programs, get into mentorships. People are running them all over the place. A lot of all these big companies you're seeing, including even Melvin's, we have now a mentorship program where we'll just sit down and talk to people, open doors, and see what we can do.
Insights. I'm standing on the money table, and this is where all the bankers are, and they're saying Flora has given them a challenge with regards to the psychometric test. So let's hear what they're going to do about it, or their 2 cents on it.
So thank you very much, Flora. I think you've drilled it down a number of times that banks should come up with psychometrics test to assess and score loans. Allow me to mention that there are a number of banks in this country that are already using that. But one thing that came out clearly at some point, remember, this is a scientific tool. You go through a series of questions and tests, you respond to them as they come. At the end of the day, it scores and tells you this person qualifies for this facility or not. Because basically what this test tries to ascertain is your character. It only speaks into you, your character, and your ability to pay this facility. So many a times we got customers challenging the outcome of the score. And they want to have a sit down, a one-on-one with the bank and demonstrate that, I am a good person, I will be able to pay this loan. The test could be doing or giving a different result. But then you hear me out. So we were running the test, we get the scores, but again, we still had to go the manual way, the physical way, and interact with the customer, get to assess the loan the normal way. But it is happening in some banks here in Kenya, largely taking care of the personal side of business, the personal loans and the retail loans. Coming to the business end, and this is something that I also want to share with the youth who are here. Banking has evolved along the way. And right now, banking is more of a relationship as opposed to just being a financial institution. We've gotten to a point where banks go to customers and they create and build that relationship. And if you build that relationship from the onset, from the scratch, from the time of business all the way, you don't have to borrow 10 million when you're starting off your business. You can start with 40,000, 100,000. And the bank sees and watches you grow all the way. When it gets to a point where your business has grown and matured, you will not be a stranger. You will not be a stranger to the bank. Currently, in the environment of COVID-19, banks are relying more on their repeat customers, existing customers, and the customers that they know. There is nothing happening in the economy. So those customers that already are in your books are the ones that actually right now banks rely on to grow their business and make revenue. Allow me to mention that bankers are here, and I think at some point we'll be able to interact one-on-one during the breakout sessions.
Okay, probably just one remark from KCB and we go back to Charlie.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Millicent Mello from KCB. I want to agree with my competition here and on what we're doing. Perhaps, as Flora says, we need to do a little bit more, and maybe also bringing it out to you, the business people, the kind of options that you have and how we can participate in making your business successful. I also wanted to just comment a bit about bankability, a little bit of time later to talk more or discuss more on that. But maybe just to mention something that could possibly be obvious, but far at the back of your minds. The bank is a business just like yours. It's somebody's business. It's somebody's investment. And those owners or shareholders or investors have put in their own capital and expect a return. So just like you are expecting a return from your business, the shareholders on the bank side are expecting a return on their business. That's why they'll put you through a test to ensure that what they're putting into your business is going to come back, and it's going to come back with a profit. It's going to come back with a return on it. I mean, all of us do some form of, I don't know whether to call it banking or lending, on a daily basis. Today, somebody maybe called you in the morning or asked you for some money. Okay, maybe not today, but I mean, you're assessing credit that you're giving to somebody. There are people who, if they call you, as soon as they start the story of unajua, you already know this one I'm not giving. Then there are people who you will maybe ask a few questions and then give. There are people who you can even recommend before they ask. And there are people who you will tell them, ati nani, hey, wachana tu na, you know, because of experience, personal experience with them, or experience you've had from other people. It's the same thing with the banks. It's only that perhaps it's a little bit more formalized, onerous, sometimes bureaucratic, documented, that things that maybe just make you. The banks are asking for those things because it's not the shareholder doing it themselves. Imagine if you are lending somebody else's money. Already your own money, you put the borrower to some form of test. Now if it's not your own money, you're putting them to test for your sake, and you're also putting them to test for this on the behalf of somebody else. So so perhaps also when you look at it that way, you'll not see the bank is not trying not to lend you. The bank is trying to lend you in a responsible manner. Anyway, we'll discuss a lot more later. So let me just leave it at that as you think about this.
Asante sana, and that is true. We're going to have some breakout sessions. It's an exciting late morning and afternoon we're going to have here. Remember, we're still at the Women and Youth Bankability Conference. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Kempinski, and for everyone tuned in all over the world on YouTube and on Facebook as well. Kenya Association of Manufacturers, the hashtag WIMKE, that's Women in Manufacturing KE, and also Youth in Industry. Now, what we're about to do, I know we have her here in person, but I also have a video of the CEO, the boss lady herself of CAM, Madam Phyllis. She's going to tell us a little bit about something that you might want to listen to right now. So take a look at your screen. There are screens all over. This is the Kempinski. So take a look at the screen closest to you and watch this.
skills development is relevant to job creation in Africa because first and foremost it improves productivity within the manufacturing sector. People who have been well trained are able to become more productive employees within the sector. Skills development is also critical to ensure that the manufacturing sector and industry in Africa is globally competitive as we are competing in a global platform, and it's important that we have the right skills that match the global scenario. In our approach to TVET and job creation, we have to begin first of all by looking at the local sectors within the economy. Those that require skills development can be prioritized depending on the local circumstances in different countries. So the need to see how we can link the issue of skills development, entrepreneurial development, and create the supporting structures to enable these skills to be harnessed into full business opportunities in order to expand their ability to create jobs in the continent. Women have specific challenges around skills development. Some of them are some of the gender-focused labor restrictions we see within the countries. These include issues like unequal pay, where we find people doing the same job of different genders. We have the female gender being paid considerably less. We also have the policies, both at government level, at organizational level, that are not very supportive to gender. So the Kenya Association of Manufacturers continues to work very closely with the TVET sector in country to see how we can create that deliberate linkage between industry and academia. We have Manufacturing Academy, we have TVET programs that are running. We have recently launched a Women in Manufacturing report that has really brought into light what the statistics look like in Kenya, and TVET is one of the areas that was identified as a priority if we are going to mainstream gender within the manufacturing sector. So we look forward to partnering with all of you to take this and drive this agenda forward.
Development, and as we've been told, when you're sick you go to the people who are skilled, who are professionals at that. So for us as young people, the women in the audience as well, we need to be skilled, and the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, the government, we're all doing something to help in that respect. Now right about now, oh wait, before I continue, did you notice the skills in terms of diction and camera confidence on that video? Did you guys notice the skill in that video? You guys notice Lillian Muli is crying right now. She's like, who is that who's about to take my job? That was an amazing video, I'm telling you. So right about now, we're going to get into something really exciting on Diro. It's the panel discussions. That's about time for now. The tea break is in just, what, 15 minutes. So
when you say 50, it looks long.
1-5. Tea break is in 15 minutes, so don't worry. But before that, we have something super exciting. We have our panel discussion. They're about to hop onto stage. After you just watch this video, we told you the bankers are here, because when we talk about bankability, the bankers they're like 30% of the word in itself, so the banks have to be here. So we have a video from Nuru Mugambi. He's from the Kenya Bankers Association. Just check this out before I introduce the panelists to you. Some very exciting people that you will want to listen to. Do you have the video up?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nuru Mugambi. I'm very happy to be here, albeit digitally, to share with you a quick presentation. Allow me to share my slides. Now we're going to talk about the banking industry's perspective to SMEs, particularly in this area, or I should say in this environment that we're in. Many of us have termed it as the COVID cloud. I term it as the COVID kairos. So when you look at the role of the banking industry, I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to get to Lamu. I had the opportunity last year for the first time. I'm in my 40s, and in 40 years, I had never been to Lamu. And when I finally had the opportunity to go, and when I was walking down those beautiful streets, it struck me about the juxtaposition of history and modernism that you will find in Lamu, which is one of our oldest towns. And I think Lamu is very much like the banking industry. Banking has existed for thousands and thousands of years. So it's a very historic practice, but at the same time, it has evolved over time. And certainly it has been disrupted by technology and modernism. But over the centuries, the core role of banking has always been the same, fourfold. It has been to facilitate payments. And back in the days, even the days of Jesus, you realize that there were different ways of which we facilitated payments. Even us here in Kenya, we used to use cowrie shells, salt was used. So value was stored in different things, in gold, in oil, in salt. But over the centuries, it evolved to become currency. So the role of the financial sector has evolved over time to facilitate the movement of payment, or to facilitate payments by the movement of value. And right now the value is currency, mostly. Of course, we're trading in gold. The second role of the financial services sector is intermediation. Intermediation is just a fancy word to say allocating capital from savers and investors and putting it to where it's needed most, where borrowers need it most, where value is created. The third role of the financial sector is risk mitigation. So banks over time, because of the years of really trying to manage and balance credit risk, banks have developed a comparative advantage in risk management. And that is a core systemic role the banking industry plays in an economy. And then finally, wealth creation. Working and walking with your clients to help them create wealth and make the right decisions about their money. That's the role of the financial services sector. So when you think cloud, we're seeing, of course, you've seen the numbers, you've seen what's happening to our currency. We've seen, of course, yourselves in your businesses, constrained activities, constrained market opportunities. And this is what we're really defining as the COVID cloud. And from a money and capital perspective, you realize then these constrained activities have obviously constrained access to capital, but also what's happening is risk is going up. You remember I mentioned one of the roles of the financial sector is to manage risk in the system. But unfortunately, because of the market environment, non-performing loans, which is the portfolio which banks track in terms of defaults, have been going up. And these are all the dynamics that the banking industry has been trying to navigate. When you look at the sectors that are being affected by COVID, obviously yourselves in manufacturing, but certainly agriculture and trade, which is also where you are, have been especially affected by COVID. So what are we doing as the banking industry? As I mentioned, I represent Kenya Bankers Association. KBA has worked very closely with the Central Bank of Kenya, which is our primary regulator, really to introduce monetary policies that help increase liquidity for the bank, so banks can then work with you to adjust your loan positions. So within this area, Central Bank lowered its central bank rate, and that's the reference rate. That's the rate that directs us on the direction of which loan pricing should go. So Central Bank has been lowering that rate. Central Bank also lowered the cash reserve ratio, and that ratio is basically a requirement of how much capital banks have to keep at the central bank for system stability. Central Bank lowered that, thereby freeing up capital for the banks to, again, restructure loans for clients. And then KBA has been working with its members to make sure that we are supporting the banking public. And we're very happy to advise, and this is bullet point number 3 on the screen, that so far banks have restructured 1.12 trillion shillings worth of loans, and that's about 38% of the banking sector's loan portfolio. That 1.12 trillion represents all the businesses that have been directly affected by COVID. In addition, banks have had some flexibility from the central bank in terms of how they're provisioning. Provisioning is a practice whereby for every loan that's given out, banks are supposed to calculate the risk of default and therefore adjust their capital requirement based on that. So by giving ability on the provisioning, not being so aggressive on provisioning for default, then banks have got more capital to work with their clients. Of course, you know that banks have been waiving their payment fees. PesaLink has been 0 rated, and you know PesaLink is actually the cheapest way for you to move your money from a bank account to a bank account within the banking system. more than 20 banks are on PesaLink. I think we're almost at 30 banks. So you can move your money between the banks free, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including on banking holidays. And I think we have a holiday coming up. And then, of course, banks donated to the COVID fund. Banks donated 1.9 billion to the fund. And then we are working with the National Treasury and Central Bank for the credit guarantee scheme. So these are all the things that banks have been doing really to respond to the COVID. Now, I talked about the COVID cloud, but there is
So amazing presentation there by Madam Nuru. That is available on the Kenya Association of Manufacturers YouTube. I believe that will be available there if you want to watch it in full. Right about now, we are now 12 minutes to tea. Tea is coming, ladies and gentlemen. But right about now, I want to invite people onto stage. Remember, here at the Women and Youth Bankability Conference, we're all about getting bankable, being able to get those finances from the various sources that we can get as young people and as the ladies also in the audience. And right about now, we want to form our panel. These are people who are amazing, people who've started their own businesses, people who are helping us as young people start businesses. And first up, we have a lady from a company that has one of the sweetest names that I've heard in a while. It's Tam Tam Diani. Sweet name, amazing name. She's been doing this for so long, and since the mid 2000s over there, and it's grown into a company that's helping communities, linking with communities and young people. Inviting you to stage, say hello to Madam Amina. Karibu sana from Tam Tam Diani. And also, we have someone with a very spicy story to tell. All the way, I hear that they're from the rolling hills of Taita Taveta. Where has Bwana Joe gone? Just when I had this very fire intro for him, and he stepped out for a bit. But Bwana Joe is going to join us on stage in a bit. He's the co-founder of Mwachaka Condiments and Sauces. I'll have to repeat my intro again when he comes back, but I'm ready for that. We also have someone who is very interested, very invested in all matters youth agenda as an organization. They've been advocating for the youth by developing their capacity to take charge of their own affairs in their own country through training and knowledge generation and dissemination. And the Youth Agenda CEO is here with us today, Bwana Kevin Kea. Karibu sana to the panel. Round of applause. Karibu sana. I need to hop off because I am not on the panel. I am good here. And then we have a lady we spoke to earlier, but she is essentially representing the people who we're representing, the questions that we're answering. She's a graduate from the St. Kizito VTI. It is Lillian Morogi Wanjiko. Karibu sana, Lillian. So we're about to have this panel discussion. Ondiro, you're the business here. You're the money. You're the money. Tell us how we're going to do this.
Great. As we wait for Joe, we'll start with this panelist. And the key question we're trying to answer here is what happens when the rubber hits the road? So you'll do me a favor when you're speaking, you switch on your mic. When you're done, you switch off your mic. Amina, let's start with you. Your business is about 13 years old. And for business to grow, there are leaps you must take. One of those financial leaps. How has that journey of seeking financial assets to grow your business been?
I'm on, right? Okay. Now, my business, I would say, I think online it says 13 years, but I'm in manufacturing for 5 years. The rest of the other years, I think the word hustler would probably come into it, right? I've tried many other businesses, some failed, some succeeded. I started business actually at a very young age. As soon as I graduated at 21, I got a job, but I ended up also doing a side hustle. So business was always in my system. But in terms of manufacturing right now, that it's 5 years old, I would say that from a financial perspective, I worked with what I had, and you'll have to excuse me for these bankers that are here. Being a Muslim, you know very well, we're not into loans, and due to the interest aspect, for those who understand riba. But I worked with my own money, and then I just started off small and just worked from there with the support of family and friends. But I have a lot to say in regards to manufacturing for women. Maybe I hope that answers your question.
Sure, sure. And how easy or difficult does it get to be a woman in business and also like seeking to expand and grow your business?
I don't really want to box us into this woman sort of, box. I think everybody has challenges, be it youth, men, old people, young people. It's really irrelevant. I think what we need, I think it just takes determination from the individuals themselves, a lot of hard work, and that's what it takes, really, a lot of hard work. There are challenges, no doubt, when you're setting up businesses in Kenya especially, and I'd like to say this to the PS before he leaves. Let me just, kidogo, point out on the issue you brought up on Huduma. I was reading about Huduma, and I've been to Huduma. It's an excellent concept, no doubt, that you can go there for your ID, for your passport, and so on. But when it comes to actual seeking help from KEBS or KRA, it doesn't really help you. And I've often, many meetings, what's the English word for it? Advocated a hub that we can have, if it's for the youth or for women or whoever wants to start a business. For example, I've often used this as an example. I'm a baker and I want to start a bakery. Where do I begin? Yes, I'll go register my business, but what certificates do I need in terms of what do I need from KEBS? Yeah? What are the A to Z requirements that I need? That Huduma Center doesn't give you that. And that's one of our biggest challenge. And then if you do seek for information in that particular center, you're not really given the full information. You still have to go back to, Ministry of Weights and Measures. If you're doing manufacturing, you still have to go back to KEBS. You still need to go and see KRA to understand exactly, what sector you fall under, and so on. So I'd like to beg of you to look into this, because it's a big challenge in regards to getting information from a lot of the ministries. I'm in a platform of about 70 plus women who are in manufacturing. We're very, very small. Majority of us are actually micro SMEs, right? And this is one of our challenges. It's a huge one. Please just kindly look into it. Maybe the next time we'll have a hub.
Okay. Thank you so much, Amina. And thank you for seeing an opportunity and going for it.
Exactly.
As it should be. Joe, I want to find out from you. Amina has pleaded her case. What are some of your pains as a young person in business?
Amina, switch off. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Hello again. My name is Joe. We make the best condiments around. I always walk around with my business and my brand. And I would say, starting out, our biggest hurdle was getting a right product and getting a product that anyone would consume. And just like what Flora said, just to echo her sentiments, we didn't first go to a financial institution or go to someone to lend us money to do that. We started on our own with as little as 2,000 shillings and reiterated the product for a full year before we could actually get something that is worth taking out to the market. This obviously comes with its own challenges. So many times you'd go without food. Many times you'd go to the point that you've gone to somewhere to seek help and then you don't have fare to go back home. But because of the passion and because of the zeal that we saw the potential in this product, we decided to, let's just delve in. And I would say there's value in that because it's taught us a lot in terms of negotiating for deals, in terms of getting products that, or rather having a quality approach to making our products. So, but just to answer your question, like Flora said, you meant to at least upskill yourself and teach yourself some of these things. And I would say we've engaged many business management organizations to help us build our business model, to help us build our a good business plan. And we're still finding the challenge of accessing equity, accessing financing. And I would say some of the youths are not knowledgeable and have not done this process yet. But at the same time, we still have some who have, but still feel disenfranchised. I'll give an example of our scenario.
Briefly?
Yeah. So we have a partner who went to school through HELB. And right now, one of the pain points that we can't access financing is from her CRB status. It's over 400,000 shillings, for crying out loud. How will we get ourselves from that point onwards? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Lillian, I want to come to you. You're still in school, but probably innovative entrepreneurship is something you'd like to pursue. Talk to us about that.
Okay, thank you. To him, like as a young person, I'm only 25 years old, and my big challenge is, it's like her. Whatever I think, whatever pushes me, it is not what pushes like 20 of us. It is me who is growing. But Uwezo Fund want me to be in a group, which I'm not able to be in a group because what I think is not what you people think. I want to do design, but I have to go to Uwezo Fund with group which doesn't want to do what I want. So like, yes.
Okay. Now, let me bring you in from the youth agenda. And all these young people, and they're speaking of their pain points. And we have bankers on that table who are saying, first and foremost, it's a business before it's any other thing. But the very question I asked Phyllis, why can't we afford to turn a blind eye to these young businesses?
Thank you very much for your question. My name is Kelvin Kea. I'm the CEO for Youth Agenda. And I want to congratulate these young people, first of all, for braving business. Personally, I've tried business. I've burnt my hands. One county government almost made me bankrupt. They did supply. They didn't pay me for 3 years. I was auctioned. And I decided to try back employment. I'm a farmer. I've PS, you know this, and I also face challenges in farming. But the fact that I'm educated, I'm exposed, I have networks, I still face challenges, and I wonder what the other young people are facing. Now back to your question. Yes, there are bankers here, and we have the government and policymakers, but there are a number of things that needs to be worked around. Like she said, that they are thinking differently. Banks, for a long time, as we had here, have been operating like they operated many years back. We need what we call a youth banking hall, or a youth bank, not been listened to. At one time, I wrote an article, and it was posted, that banks should employ people with entrepreneurship background. Because if you are an entrepreneur, you'll feel somebody who comes to you with an entrepreneurship idea. As opposed to you've gone to school, you are a commerce person, and you are at the bank, you are earning money, so you don't really connect to these people. Mm-hmm. The other thing is about policy realignment. Today I want to ask randomly here, how many of us, when you make a phone call, you really can account for the much you're spending on telecommunication? It's not easy. But can you imagine, and I'm willing to partner with the banks if I can give you this idea and we can discuss it. Can you negotiate with the telcos so that when somebody makes a phone call, they automatically save some cents into their bank accounts? And then that way, you can be able to negotiate and give them loans easily at very minimal interest rates. It's about being flexible and working with the things that are there at our time, and most likely ICT.
Okay.
lastly, because I think there are many things that I've written, is about incubation. We need proper incubation. You find many, I don't want to mention names, they call for entrepreneurship training. They just call youth randomly for a training. This is a young person has just finished Form 4. The parent has pushed them to go for the session. Is not willing to do the business. But take her, who is already running a business, engage her in a training. You are sure you're going to bank this person. And you are sure the business will roll to something else. So the incubation models that we have also need to change and focus directly on the people who are in these businesses, not people who are willing to do business, as has been in the case. So let me stop there, but I could highlight so many points.
Joe, let me come to you, because access to finance, you've said you have a challenge with the organization and you cannot be able to access funds. How does this impede the growth of your business?
Yeah, so I'll refer back to my statement before. Most of us youths, we're operating in a chaos economy. And so what that translates to is, I will come sell this to you, make back cash to make some more, and the rest will just be from hand to mouth. Because really, by the time I get to my customer A in somewhere in Komarok, the only cash that I have for me that is not being reinvested back to the business is probably just bus fare and lunch. So by the time you save enough to buy, say, machinery, say to get a good premise, say to invest in some standards, it takes you, a process that would have taken you like 6 months takes you over 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. Amina, what are some of the lessons that you've learned over the years doing business?
Sorry. Once? What? Once. Oh, okay. Niko nyuma sana kuhusu hizi mashini. Before I answer that question, can I address something to the guys from the bank?
Sure.
Okay. Now, like I mentioned earlier on, I've formed a group of women in this particular platform that we have, 70 plus women who are in manufacturing. Majority of them are actually micro SMEs. I think what the banks need to understand, when we use the word SMEs, we're sort of categorized in that particular box, SME. SMEs come in different categories. There are some who are businesses are medium size, small size. Micro SMEs were uko chini, if you get me, yeah? Mm-hmm. Normally, micro SMEs will probably have 1 to 10 employees, yeah? Or employees, so to speak. Now, a lot of us are of that category. Now to the banks. I think the banks really need to do a bit of research to understand who micro SMEs are. A lot of us keep saying, these guys don't understand us, they don't understand us. When we need money in terms of steps. For example, she might have the raw material to produce, but she probably wants to upgrade her product presentation, maybe by using glass jars, and everybody's demanding glass jars. People are moving away from plastic. She wants to upgrade her labels and so on. So what she needs is money to take her from one step to the other. A lot of the times, micro SMEs do not need a lot of money, believe me. If anything, they probably want 50,000, 100,000, maybe $500,000 the most, okay? So I think banks have to do a lot of research on micro SMEs, and we are very many, and I think I'd like to speak to, for women, we're very good in paying back. You don't have to worry about that, I think. So I think that's one of the things that I've been sort of, it's been on my chest, and I see that what banks do is just throw in their products. They want to push their products, but they really do not know who they're dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. So to answer your second question, which was?
The lessons you've learned
the lessons that I've learned. I think it just takes a lot of guts to be in business. It also takes a lot of drive and maybe a lot of sleepless nights, because you have to always strategize. Yeah, and doing a lot of research in when you're, let's say, for example, as a manufacturer, you really have to go out there in the stores and look at your, competition and so on. I think that, for me personally, has really helped me. I have a lot of competitors out there, but what I've decided to do is that I'm going to produce quality. And that is where now I'd say that that's a lesson that I've learned. I think sometimes as Kenyans, we tend to compromise our products. Initially, we start off very well. Naona mtu anakoroga jam vizuri, anaweka the right fruits, kila kitu. Mara ya kwanza unanunua iko sawa, we ngoja atengeneze pesa kidogo. Atarudi kwenda kufanya vituko. So that's where, again, you see that customers get discouraged in buying the same product. That's one thing I noticed. Kenyans were not consistent in our products. For the youth that are here, please, I have kids probably of your age, some of you here. But I would say that be consistent in whatever that you're doing. Don't shortchange your customers. If that's anything to go by,
Okay.
I give you that.
Great. As we almost near the close of this session, Lillian, I want to find out from you where your business is at right now. What are some of the things you need to grow it and take it to the next level?
That's a wonderful question, because I will head to that table over there. Actually, it's only Barclays that I have not banked with here. I have a bank with Cooperative and I have a bank with KCB. So I really know what I'm saying when I will talk about you two people. I have an agent with Cooperative, and let me say it is not easy for you guys to give us something to start something off. Like, if I combined the two bank, and the first, well, let me say challenges, the interest rate charge, like 13% for sure. For sure, it's a very high thing for me, because first of all, you'll ask me for pay slip and something else, like for 6 months. I have not. Maybe for those who are starting working right now, for me, okay, I have worked for 2 years, I can produce those pay slip for 6 months. But what about that person who have just gotten her employment and he doesn't have that pay slip like 6 months? What do you do in such case? The collateral, securities, you want me to give you like car logbook? I don't drive. You want me to give you title deeds? I don't have those. So for me, it becomes harder to. So most of the time, I rely on my small salary. You get, first of all, the KRA scrubs something, and what gets into my bank, it's little. And I bank with you. You have seen something for maybe 1 year, and how do you rate something like that? Like, I'm banking with you for some times, and it is, you always say that on, like, umekuwa ukifanya this for unatoa unaweka, unatoa unaweka, unatoa unaweka. It happens. Natoa naweka. But sasa it gets to some point, I withdraw everything to go and buy material to make clothes, and I have not gotten any profit to come and bank. So I have that problem for 6 months. Maybe I withdrew everything, and the leftover was a zero, and you want me to have something inside there, because I can't do business without money.
Sasa benki wafanye nini ndo wahakikishe wanakusaidia kugrow biashara?
They use my, like, they follow what I'm doing. They follow my business. I know you have guys for field. Like, I have 2 employees. They always tell, mtu wa KCB alipita hapa, but you didn't help me. You just passed over my business. Mtu wa Cooperative alipita hapa, but you've just come. I ask for a loan. And secondly, you need to teach us youth how to take loans, which loans are the best for us, development, the risk for loans, because utakuja mi nione I need $500,000 and ninaona pale $500,000, but you're not telling me about the risk of that $500,000. Utanikujia business yangu yote ubebe hadi machine. You are not helping me.
True. I want to bring you in. How can Lillian package herself as a bankable youthful enterprise?
Thank you very much. I pushed a lot to the banks. Now let me push to the youth. I think there's a challenge also with us young people, which we need to agree, is that we are quick fix mentality, and we want things to run very fast, like unawasha hiyo stima na umeshapatikana. One thing that you need to do as a young person, first of all, once you have accepted and agreed that you want to run a business, start asking yourself, what do you need to become, a formidable business? One, you have to register your business. No bank will accept you when you've not registered your business. You're not an entity. And most people, actually, those people who are running businesses, I always tell them that you could be thinking that you're running a business, yet you're just being busy. Ukipiga hesabu analysis, you realize you have not paid tax, you have not catered your transport, nguo yenye umenunua, airtime, you'll find out that you're actually doing zero. You're always in rounds thinking that you're in business. So one, you have to register your business. Number two, have records of your transactions. When you buy a pen from the money in your business, please note down that you bought a pen and this is the amount of money. If you have a receipt, please keep it. These people from the bank also, we blame them, but sometimes they find it difficult to ascertain that you're actually in a business. Register a Lipa na M-Pesa number. Connect it to a bank or a pay bill number. Let that, you can always print that transaction and show that you are in a business. If you are making payments, use those pay bill numbers so that you avoid going to a bank or you don't have the time to go to the bank. So use those platforms to operate your business. To register Lipa na M-Pesa or pay bill number is so easy. In fact, some banks help to do it in like 2-3 hours, you're done. So it's possible. Number three, professionalize yourself. There's last week we were shown of a video of a gentleman, I think he's in Nigeria or something. He was selling samosas, but he was in a suit, in a tie. I hope you guys saw that thing.
Yes.
Yeah? If it was you, would you not buy samosa from that gentleman? You would, yeah. Imagine wale wanatuuzia mtura huku kwa ground na bado tunanunua. If ukipata mtu mwenye ako clean anauza mtura hivyo vizuri, you would buy and you actually sell it fast. So package yourself well, neatly. Also in terms of your books, make them neat, and at the same time work on your etiquettes. There's a way you talk to customers. You cannot coerce a customer to buy something. And as she said, ukishapata pesa, don't tumbukiza maji ndani ya hiyo tembo. Make sure that you continue, you be consistent, and then the other thing, ensure that you get professional advice. Wewe unasema bank imekuja kwako wamepitia. Why can't you also take time to go to the same bank and find out that information? Why can't you read? There's a lot of information online. Personally, when I wake up in the morning, I do morning jogs. After I come back as I rest, I read a lot. You see a lot of information. Even this Nairobi Stock Exchange, you find a lot of information. You can analyze a lot of information from those things. So let us also go out and work to empower ourselves.
Okay.
Lastly, as I say, at Youth Agenda we run a program we call it the Speak Out. The Speak Out is there to feature young people and their challenges, and later on then to offer mentorship to them. I would encourage that them and all the business people who are here, we get in touch to somehow put you through that program so that after 6 months, you are able to now become a professional business, and you can even franchise, you can ask for bigger loans. There are even international banks that want to give us loans and grants. Thank you.
Lillian, 30 seconds for your rebuttal. Switch off your mic.
I have a question for him. I have registered my business. I have done everything it takes because Kiambu, Kanjo don't joke with permits. So I have done that. And despite the big challenge is knowledge. Internet has everything. If you ask Google, like if you go to like a bank, you say KCB information about loans, they will give everything. But as me as a youth, I need to know into details. For real, I don't know the risks. Okay, I hear like if you take a big loan, they will come and maybe like they did to you. So I fear that. So they need to educate us. Like when I go to a bank and I go to a business, business section, they need to tell me and make me understand what kind of, maybe sometimes I don't even need a loan. It's just a business plan. Maybe I have that little money and it is able to make what I really want in the account. But just a business plan, I have not been so much into business, as in I didn't learn about business. So I'm just out there trying. I'm a mechanical. I'm in the industry of automotive. So I'm jumping into a business which I'm not aware of. I'm just moving. So it's all about the awareness and education, mostly in the banks.
Okay. I will give you only 10 seconds because we have to wind up.
For that, I just wanted to tell her that business is your thing. So as much as you are waiting for the bank to come to you, it's your own effort. And I can assure, if you give me time, we can have a chat. I will go to Kiambu website or Kiambu things, and I'll identify to you even hubs where you can go and identify this information.
Okay.
We have technical and vocational training center, which PS was here to tell you. Go to these institutions. There are teachers there. They're actually waiting to give you lectures. And lastly, YouTube is a platform which we are not using as Kenyans, especially you young people. If you Google today Centonomy, for instance, how many of you know Centonomy? You will get free information on basic financial literacy and money matters. So let's engage, let's have this platform, let's use them. And if you cannot get them, we welcome you to the youth agenda. We'll definitely help you. Thank you.
Joe, as we wind up, I want you to paint a visual picture for everyone in the room and even the people at home. What would access to finance mean for a business like yours?
Actually, I don't even think that we need that much. We just need the banks to be a bit more creative in their product offerings. In that, like there's one friend of mine who was suggesting something, and I thought, okay, this is just a layman's perspective. I thought it would work. For instance, if I get an order from say Kempinski, and I cannot finance it myself, I can easily walk into ABSA, since I'm their customer, and we kind of have an arrangement where it's not really my account, it's an account that they control. So they credit me with, they don't even have to give me the money. Just make sure I get the raw materials. And then when the payment is done, it's just done to that account, so they can take away their chunk and give me my small amount. So with that, I think with time, we can easily solve some of these issues without really bogging down the entrepreneurs. Because if you really look at it introspectively, this entrepreneur is everything in that business: the janitor, the CEO, the designer, the everything. Okay. So if we can make it a little bit easier for them, I think it will go a long way.
Ease of access. Yeah. Amina, 30 seconds parting shot.
First thing I'd like to maybe advise the women and also the youth. When you're starting off a business, and I'm using my business as an example, first of all, you don't know whether, let me use manufacturing as a platform. Let's assume that you want to start off a jam. Let's use jam, right? So you know your jam is very good, but what you need to do is not to go to the banks and get a lot of money to set you up in ways where you're getting equipments, and going all crazy and trying to get maybe a space and so on. I think what I did personally, I started off this particular business for 5 years with 200,000 when I quit my job where I was working. And what I did was I took everything in little steps. Yeah, I started off with very little money, registered my company, and then started doing the innovation of the products that I wanted. But I took everything in little steps, because what can happen is that let's say this particular jam that you have made, and you think it's the best jam in the world, but then when you go into that market sector, you realize, oh my God, you know what? This jam is not working. So you can imagine if you invested a lot of money into that business. So take it in small chunks, I would say. Now for the banks, I mean, something similar to what he was saying. And I'm going back to those women that I told you who are in my platform, and we're over 70 manufacturing women, is that if there is a way that these women could come to the banks and say, okay, look, I want to upgrade this, my product. And like I mentioned earlier, we work on steps. In this particular step, I need to get, let's say, a certain printer to do like over 5,000, 10,000 labels for my product. Could you actually sort of like, instead of giving me the money, why don't you pay directly to that supplier? I think that way, sometimes you can give the money to, let's say, the person who's borrowing it, and they don't really use it well. But if you're able to pay directly either for that blender, let's say she's upgrading her blender or she's upgrading her equipment in any form, it goes directly to the supplier. I think that would be a good thing, especially for micro SMEs. That's something I really wish you guys could look into.
Okay. 30 seconds? 30.
Actually, 30 seconds is not enough, but I'll just tell you that if you want to do and succeed in your business, identify your passion and convert it into an enterprise. That way, the challenges that are being said here will not be a hindrance to you, but rather inspiration for you to continue, because the passion will drive you to achieve the impossible. As we finish, I invite you to our conference, which we are organizing on the 19th and 20th of November, which is about employability. We'll discuss blue economy, green economy, entrepreneurship, green economy, which is agriculture and stuff. And I believe that through that initiative, we are going to continue this discussion that we started here. Thank you.
Joe?
We talk about making Kenya a manufacturing hub, and I think it should be a concerted effort between the entrepreneurs, the financial sector. I'm sure they'll also benefit if we are a manufacturing powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lillian?
Uh,
30.
No, not to you. It is to those young ladies in the house, like starting a business, like he has said, it is what you like and what you feel like it is in you, because you will always do everything to make sure whatever you want to start comes out properly, and you are able even to get the effort to do that.
Sure. We've had a great time having a conversation with our panel. Lillian, aggressive in pushing her business. Joe, very intentional and very meticulous in his product. Amina telling you, start small and make very deliberate steps. And the youth agenda telling you, you need to package yourself well so that you're bankable every time you step into the doors of that bank. That's all we had for you from this plenary session, Charlie.
Okay, and that was the panel discussion. Asanteni sana to all our amazing panelists. Maybe a kidogo round of applause, just a little bit. And if you're saying that because unasikia maybe upigi makofi sana juu unasikia njaa, there are refreshments outside. If you haven't gotten, we're about to go into that tea break. Now the next session that we're coming back into, I was super excited the first time I heard about it, but I misheard. I thought Rosie said the break dancing sessions, but it's a breakout session. So we're going to break out right about now. We're not going to break dance. I know, no, Ndiro, you're really talented at that. She can show you her skills, amazing dancer. But we're going to have breakout sessions. The youth, we're going to stay in this room. Then in the next room, we're going to have the women in manufacturing and the SMEs. This is where we're going to go, like sit down, mbele, yani word to word up hivi. Mano, they say mano imano. Is that the word? Mano imano with the banks. There are folks from KCB, from ABSA as well, and from the Cooperative Bank. Now, they're going to tell us what they're offering. Then we'll be able to ask questions. Lillian, this is your chance to shine right about now. Any questions? Because I'm seeing your notebook. You're about to go to war, aren't you? The guys from ABSA, Co-op Bank, KCB, are you guys ready for Lillian? Are you even ready? You're ready for her. So we're going to have those amazing breakout sessions right about now. But I think we'll give guys 5 minutes just to make sure that they have their tea ready and they are set up. Yeah, so go get your tea if you haven't gotten it yet. Bring it back here if you're in the session with the young people, the youth, or if you're in women in manufacturing in the SMEs. So hakuna kusimama hapo hivyo nje, ni kazi inaendelea hapa hivi. The work does not stop. But asante sana to our panelists, asantini sana. Okay, guys, you guys aren't hungry, you guys are good. Guys on this side are good. Are you guys hungry on this side? You guys are hungry. Okay, so just get your refreshments and then we'll see you back here in exactly 3 minutes. On screen right now, we're about to watch another amazing video. I'm loving the video content that is coming through today. And we're going to show you something else that we really want you to know. This is going to be about 30. How long is this video? Maybe 30 seconds, 3 minutes. It's a 3-minute video, Omega Apparels. Now, it's inspired.
As a textile sector, the challenges which we face is the lack of expertise.
Welcome to another edition of Come Live. Today I'm at Omega Apparels. We were talking to Mehul and he's telling us about the impact of COVID-19 on their business and how they've managed to remain top of their game.
Uniform has been a major chunk of production, and as we know, all schools are shut down and not opening in the near future, so we had to very fast think over now what. I have 350 people on an average, and while every business was shutting down and everything, it was my duty and obligation to make sure that I find some work for them, to retain them rather than going home, because as it is, our economy is such that everybody is hand to mouth. We are registered with NITA and everyone.
Yes.
And we do encourage interns come in.
Yes.
Because it's in the program. They come in for 2-3 months. They learn the system. And if we feel they're good enough, we return them.
How do you feel we can build the capacity of our young people, the young generation that you're talking about, to be able to feel, this sector and grow it?
Internet and social media and everything, a lot of awareness of what's happening outside. And what entrepreneurs here local want to do is just improvise themselves into what fashion they can produce themselves. Like, people are making their own, using our local materials like the shukas and the kikois, and coming out with beautiful garments which they could just sit home and design and do a small scale industry. As a textile sector, the challenges which we face is the lack of expertise. We don't have institutions who train people in expert divisions that we require them here. Like, for example, we have shortage of people who can actually provide patterns for garments.
What interventions do you think need to be put in place?
We want government intervention to come in that restrict a few items which can be done in Kenya, and we do them in Kenya and stop importation of that. If they could invest in proper technology, in the latest textile machines and everything, would be a very great help.
For 60 years, we have been by your side.
At Omega Apparels. Now I'm telling you guys, breakout sessions start now. So if you are a member of the Women in Manufacturing or you're an SME, you need to be in the next room and you'll be shown the way to it. It's over to the right of this room. So make sure if you're in Women in Manufacturing, WIM, or SMEs, you are going to have your representatives from the bank on that side. And we have one more video. Before we start that, the youth, we're going to be in this room. I'm telling you, breakout sessions are beginning. And if you're still here, feel free to karibia. I think we're going to be on these two tables over here. So feel free, if you're on the periphery, tafadhali karibia. But now, as you guys get your tea, one more video. Bona producer, is it ready? Yeah.
Skills development is relevant to job creation in Africa because first and foremost it improves productivity within the manufacturing sector. People who have been well trained are able to become more productive employees within the sector. Skills development is also critical to ensure that the manufacturing sector and industry in Africa is globally competitive as we are competing in a global platform, and it's important that we have the right skills that match the global scenario. In our approach to TVET and job creation, we have to begin first of all by looking at the local sectors within the economy. Those that require skills development can be prioritized depending on the local circumstances in different countries. So the need to see how we can link the issue of skills development, entrepreneurial development, and create the supporting ecosystems and infrastructures to enable these skills to be harnessed into full business opportunities in order to expand their ability to create jobs in the continent. Women have specific challenges around skills development. Some of them are some of the gender-focused labor restrictions we see within the countries. These include issues like unequal pay, where we find people doing the same job of different genders. We have the female gender being paid considerably less. We also have the policies, both at government level, at organizational level, that are not very supportive to gender. So the Kenya Association of Manufacturers continues to work very closely with the TVET sector in country to see how we can create that deliberate linkage between industry and academia. We have Manufacturing Academy, we have TVET programs that are running. We have recently launched a Women in Manufacturing report that has really brought into light what the statistics look like in Kenya, and TVET is one of the areas that was identified as a priority if we are going to mainstream gender within the manufacturing sector. So we look forward to partnering with all of you to take this and drive this agenda forward.
Today on Come Live, I'm going to have an amazing conversation with an amazing woman, the founder of Azavi Foods, and she's going to tell us her journey as a manufacturing SME in Kenya.
My name is Paulino Kubasu. I am the founder and CEO of Azavi Foods. So after research, I started getting information on how do I bridge that gap of market access from the farm to the fork, to the end consumer. And at that time also Kenyans were getting to know, to embrace nutrition, eating, starting to become healthy conscious. So just wondering also, how do I meet the nutritional needs of the Kenyan people? So I decided that I needed to offer organic products that are of good quality, they're tasty, and for me to do that, I needed to partner with certified farmers that are doing organic farming and have gone through the training so that food is safe from the time it is farmed, the time it goes through the value chain of production, and then to the end consumer. If the government would have more hubs created, because there's so many SMEs that are in the same, who are experiencing the same challenges I am, they need to scale up but can't because there's no facility they can move to. Because owning your own facility is quite expensive. Yeah? So having that hand-holding support either from the government or from associations like CAM that are lobbying for us would really help. So it motivates you and inspires you knowing that you're in the same journey that they were in at some point. They're able to point out the loopholes so that you do not waste a lot of time following a certain process that will take you too long. They have industry experience, they have a wider network, so they're able to link you with the right people.
In your line, or what do you feel is the future for SMEs in this country?
We'd be looking at the economy, building a strong economy. We'd be having less youth seated out there with no work because employment will have been created. We'll be seeing more industries coming up. We'll be seeing a hub where investors want to come in and help, or even we could be the ones investing in other countries and especially Africa. I'm excited to know that the Africa Free Trade Agreement is coming up because it will offer a market space for many other entrepreneurs to trade from one region to the other within Africa. So we become a hub within Africa where we're able now to take our products to other continents.
That was Pauline, the founder of Azavi Foods. This is Come Live. See you next time. Come Live lands at
I haven't been around. I've only been around 20-something years, but the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, 60 years of doing this amazing things, making sure that we are competitive globally. So right about now, this is what we're going to do. This is the main aim of the breakout session. It's almost one-on-one here. We have representatives from the banks. We have ABSA and Cooperative Bank. The rep from KCB is on the other side. She'll be here in just a bit. This is how I want us to flow. First up, the representatives from the banks will come and talk to us. About 3 minutes is good. 4 minutes. 4 minutes just to talk to us and tell us about some of the products that they have or what they see that the future of young people and banks and banking is. And then from there, you guys will have about 10 minutes for your questions, and you can direct them specifically at the bank that you want to work with. So is everyone happy with that? Ama kuna mtu nimesahau? Everyone is happy with that agreement. Sindio? The reason this is a breakout session, by the way, no one is dictating what we're doing. You guys are dictating. So if you're happy with that, we're good to go. Is everyone happy? Show of hands. Who's happy with this arrangement? No one is happy with this arrangement. You don't want to ask banks questions. Ama mnataka aje simniambie. Do you want me to break dance in front of IV? Please don't put your hands up. Please don't. So can we get a representative from a bank to come talk to us and tell us what's up? Sawa? Is that good? Okay, I believe Bwana Absa. I keep saying Bwana Absa. Andrew. Andrew from ABSA. It alliterates. I like it. Andrew from ABSA. Do you want to take the stage and tell us about ABSA and the future of young people in banking?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Awili from ABSA, Kenya. And I think it's important and it's exciting to see the youth and the women in business come together for such forum. I work at ABSA and within a unit called Business Banking, specifically SMEs. I'm the cluster manager for SME within Nairobi region. I'm here with two of my colleagues. I think they've gone to the other side. I'll be very straight. And first of all, inform you that this year, when we started 2020, Barclays Bank changed from Barclays Bank to now ABSA. And around the time we changed and transitioned to ABSA, a lot of exciting things happened within the bank. As you may be aware, Barclays Bank was viewed as an elite bank, a bank that at some point closed people's accounts and told them that you do not have a minimum balance or a certain amount in the account. That moved away. So the British face of that bank is no more in this country. You remember the symbol for Barclays was an eagle. So the eagle has flown away. We now have ABSA, which is an African bank. And if you notice some of the adverts we've been running around with, we talk about Africanicity a lot. The African way of making things happen. Our purpose as a bank is to bring possibilities to life. And every other place I go, I tell people, bringing possibilities to life could be equated to bringing the dead back to life. Why am I saying this? It's because we are geared towards supporting the youth and women in business. In the month of February, our CEO, Jeremy Awori, launched a 10 billion fund to support women in business. Were it not for this COVID, and I'm sure you must have seen the ABSA caravan going across the country with a campaign called Wezesha Biashara. We were all over the radio, we were all over the streets, we were all over the country, telling the youth that now we have come and we've come down to your level. And we ran a successful campaign last year and beginning of this year called Wezesha Biashara. So we were calling it Wezesha Biashara na ABSA. Within that campaign, we launched a product for SMEs. Currently, we give unsecured facilities of up to 6 million Kenya shilling. No other bank in this country does that. Joe talked about an arrangement where if he has an order from Kempinski, he has gone to a supplier and requires products to deliver to Kempinski, and a certain account is opened so that when Kempinski is paying, they pay into that account, we pick our money, and he gets back his cash. That arrangement exists. It's called LPO financing. That particular account he was talking about is called an escrow account. That arrangement exists within the bank. So we have a product called LPO financing, where if you have an LPO, we're able to finance that LPO up to 80% of the cost of doing that LPO. We also have what we call an invoice discounting, where if you've already supplied to a government institution, to a corporate, whatever institution you're supplying to, as you wait for money, as you wait for 60 days, 30 days, various companies have different policies on when they pay. We are able to discount that invoice of yours, pay you in advance, you receive your money today, the bank, we can wait for that 60 or 90 days to receive the payment. It's called invoice discount. And imagine some of these products that you talk about, they all exist within the bank. Some of the products that you are imagining that, can a bank do this for me? And the flexibility that you find around the banks to date are amazing. You will be surprised yourself. We will have that escrow account. And if anybody here is a supplier to Safaricom, and you have an LPO from Safaricom, walk to ABSA. Just tell them, hey, one of your staff mentioned something about Safaricom LPOs. Walk into any ABSA bank or give me a call. That we will finance immediately because we have an arrangement with Safaricom and various other corporates in this country where all their suppliers and even their distributors, we finance them through the arrangement we call enterprise supply chain. Now, the most important thing that I want you to take out from this discussion or this forum today is the fact that if you are a startup, and like Flora mentioned earlier on, borrow, use your savings, find means of starting off. The bank will come to propel you to the next level. The bank will come to support you to move into new markets, to grow your market share, but the bank will not come to start off that business for you. That's the only challenge, and that's the only point of departure that most entrepreneurs will face. That no bank, and I dare say no bank, will touch a startup. You've got to start from somewhere. And I mentioned earlier on that, the relationship that you create with your friends, your spouse, that time that you're starting off that relationship, you get to know one another in detail. It's exactly the same thing banks also expect. Bank wants to see that, you started from here, their records, their document, every step of your journey. These days, banks even accept M-Pesa statements, if you didn't know. We will use M-Pesa statement to analyze your requests. It never used to happen before. So be open, approach the banks. SMEs are there to be supported. We know the challenges that face SMEs, year 1, year 2, year 3. If they're successful, they will pick up at year 4 and 5, but most of them at year 3, 5, they always fall off. And the biggest challenge and the greatest challenge has always been access to finance. But ABSA is here for you, and our purpose is to bring possibilities to life and to bring that possibility to your business. Thank you.
Okay. Bwana Andrew, asante sana. Before you go, breakout sessions is one-on-one up over. You've mentioned a lot of exciting products like the LPO financing and the invoice discounting you mentioned. So those are some, maybe rattle off like 2 or 3 more, and then we can get questions. Does anyone have a question? I will pass the microphone around in case you have any questions. My question is, you've mentioned the LPO financing and the invoice discounting. Are there like 2 more products you can just rattle off that are very, very relevant to young people who are getting into this business?
So there are so many products that you can get from the bank. But I was talking about what is relevant to the needs that are here.
Yeah.
There's the normal working capital financing, which we call an STL. It's a short-term loan.
Yeah.
12 months, 6 months, or even 90 days. Now, this is the arrangement with an STL. Assume you are supplying EABL, or you are a trader, general trader, and you know for sure it takes you 60 days to sell your products, get your money, and get your margin. So you approach the bank and say, hey, I need an STL of about 1 million bob. So we'll mark a limit of 1 million shilling and say you pay us after 60 days. Once you access the 1 million, you're able to transact with that 1 million, plow it back into your business, rotate that money into the business for 60 days as we wait. You will have made your trade, you will have made your money, your margin. After 60 days, you pay us, you remain with your margin. And that line remains existing and available for you for a whole year. Only that it is accessible after every 60 days. It could be 60 days, it could be 90 days, it could be 120 days. But depending on how best we analyze and look at your business. And that is why I said it is important you have all your records. Another product that I also wanted to mention to you is asset finance. At some point, you're a distributor, you're a trader, you need you're hiring pickups or trucks, at some point you'll want to own your own. So we also have asset finance. Now, when you grow and you get to a stage where now you want to import, there's what we call letters of credit. Letters of credit are issued to international suppliers just to confirm and give them a confirmation or a guarantee that payments will be made once the goods are shipped and received here in Kenya. I think those are some of the products I could mention to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, those are amazing. And remember, the whole point of this is to encourage, to show us a way to become bankable, because banks are looking for young people who are bankable for both the banks and the young people to make money. Now, before I let Bwana Andrew have a seat, does anyone have, and when you ask your question, make sure that it's very unique and specific to yourself. Tell us about your business, because the reason the banks are here, don't ask a general question. Go in depth, go detailed to your specific situation, and Bwana Andrew would be able to answer that question. So does anyone have a question now before we listen to the next bank? Yes, we do.
Thank you. I'm Dina Omara from Katine, TTI. Personally, I'm a business lady. While schooling, I have a small aggregate, and at the same time, I have a salon. And learning those businesses, there is a challenge of money. And most of the time, when you have just faced that challenge, you just seek for money. But in most cases, having the amount to approve of your business, it has become a very big challenge to myself. Now I'm asking the APSA, how can they help me to grow up my business? Because so far, it has about 3 years, more than 3 years. Yeah.
I guess maybe, Bwana Andrew, I do know, as we've been talking, you've mentioned things, the business has to have that plan, those records in place. It's the responsibility of the bank is to provide the finances, but it's the responsibility of the owner to actually have a plan to where they're going. Is that correct?
Exactly. Remember, when you are getting into a relationship with the bank, it's a two-way traffic. So there's what we expect from you, and then there's the expectation you have from the bank. We would want you to have all your records. And I'm happy you've mentioned that your business has been in existence for more than 3 years. That's the first starting point for any other bank. I don't know where the rest of the bank consider that, but we do. It means your business is stable. It means you've already learned and gone through the learning curves of that business. Your business requires working capital, which is by nature short-term, a 1-year facility or a 2-year facility. Approaches. We will look at your turnovers, we will look at your records and see how much is enough and sufficient for your business to grow.
Maybe can we go even more specific? In your business, what exactly do you need the money for?
Specific, where I want the money for.
Yes, where is it?
In terms of aggregate. So to have some extra cash to improve the stock that I have, and to buy some.
So for you, it's for the extra stock.
Yeah.
That's specifically, because what I understand what Andrew is saying is you need to have, I believe it's a good financial knowledge to know where the money is going specifically, not just to have the money. So you want the money specifically for your stock?
Yeah, and to buy some materials to use there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you run an aggregate or a salon?
Both.
Both an aggregate and a salon?
Yeah.
And particularly what you want is to stock up your aggregate.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's a short-term financing, a year or two, you'll be able to have. But again, it is also important to let us know, where do you get your products from? We can issue a guarantee to the person supplying you with the product, a guarantee of up to 1 million, and say this is a bank guarantee from ABSA. Supply this aggregate with products on a revolving line every other year, up until we are sure that now you're stable enough. You can even pull out that guarantee and run on your own. Now, remember, another thing is that banks want to follow their money. And this money and I'm telling you, it will be given on unsecured basis. It means we do not have any collateral. We do not have any security for this money. We just need to know that this money is used for the right purpose. And if you are in business and you borrow money, you use it for the wrong reason, it will not even take 3 months before the stress, your business is under stress. It's called diversion of funds. If you borrow money and money is bad. Money is tempting. I wouldn't say money is bad. Everybody wants money. It's just tempting. The moment it gets into your business, you've got to apply it in the right manner. And that is why I'm saying probably we go to the distributor who supplies your aggregate and see whether you can have an arrangement with them. All these petrol stations that you see in Kenya today, they have a guarantee to either Shell, Total, or Ola, or Rubies, for that matter. A guarantee that, for 10 million, Bob, I can supply you anytime. Remember, a guarantee is a document or an undertaking from the bank to the distributor that I'm comfortable supplying this aggregate up to X amount. This aggregate will pay me after every 60 days or after every 30 days. In the event they don't pay, you just take the guarantee to the bank, call it up, you paid your entire 1 million.
Okay. Is your question answered for now? Because we need to have the next representative from the next bank. In case you have any extra questions from Andrew, he's still here. Let's next hear from Cooperative. Asante sana, Andrew. Thank you so much. Let's next hear from the representative from the Cooperative Bank, from Coop. There she is. But keep your questions. We're going to have an all-out question and answer session after. Karibu to the stage.
How are you?
We are well. Let me just tilt that down a bit for you.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, it is amazing that this discussion can be brought to this level. First, it has been a discussion of being bankable. This for the youths. And now someone can listen to us. I like the way my colleague, a competitor for that matter.
But then you haven't told us your name and what bank you're from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for that. My name is Rose from COP.
Hi, Rose.
I'm fine. I'm in the sector or the section, a banker. Lillian said she has an account with COBAC and KCB. Yeah, I know we'll meet after this. Is she still there?
No, I think she's going to the other side with the
women.
Manufacturing. Yeah.
Manufacturing, that's nice. So, what we do in COPA, we have come down to where our youth are, and you have decided to listen. One thing you have talked about, no collateral, no one understands as you get into the bank and say, oops, these are old people. Maybe the person you are meeting at the desk already looks old. And now she's like, what are you telling me? And we did our research, and we are happy to bring it to you. We realized there is something we call MSME, that is micro, small, medium enterprises. What are their needs? As Coop Bank, we realized we have that person who is starting at 0, going up to 10 million. What are their needs in their businesses? This person, even maybe getting even a premises to start a business, you are starting it at the backyard of maybe, if you are lucky, your mom or your dad has a compound and maybe you are doing catering, right? So you're like borrowing everything. Then we have that one, now you have grown, and now you are doing 10 million, and what are your needs, right? This person doing 10 million in terms of maybe annual sales, the needs are not like that person who is doing 500, because even before you convince someone to buy your products, it is just a hassle. One thing I will tell you, I tried a business after school, that is after Form 4, and this was a boutique. And this boutique, I'm a young lady, just after Form 4, and already you are getting discouragement even from your mom. Your mom is being told, huyu akienda kuuza huko, au vijana wote, they are gone with you. Sawa? So those are the small challenges. And then you go up to 100 million and above 100 million, now you are multinational and international. What the bank has done, we have said, let us make it easy to have an account. You just open an account with us from zero, even like we tell you, go and open. Just like from tomorrow, start doing a 10 bob to that account. Start doing your sales of 50 bob. We make it so easy for you to deposit. We give you a Lipa na M-Pesa. At the moment of opening, even if you have not formalized, because I know that some of those business ideas, they are still in your head, cooking, I'll call it what? Maybe you are trading as you try to formalize. We are opening for you that account. We only require your KRA PIN and ID. And I know those who will be ready with those documents, after this will open. And we connect that account to a Lipa na M-Pesa. Because we have said our youths, they no longer want that old style of queuing until people could faint in the bank. We have said, let us have platforms where you can bank easily with your phone. We give you a free pay bill like 400, 200, and the money will terminate into your account. The reason we realize why it's so good to have money terminating into your account, because of the history. As much has been told that we look at the CRB, like, what is your history? And let us try to create that history by doing the little we can do. That's what we are told, isn't it? What is that small, being agile? What can you do? Today I have my Agrofet. Today they have done sales of 300 shillings. The agility, you can sell that money to the account by doing a Lipa na M-Pesa, and that person who is buying will pay you, will have no cost, isn't it? And when the following month you are trying to access a loan or a bank guarantee or whatever it is easy to have a history in the account, but for sure this, I'm doing business, right? So that has been the solution. We make it so easy in the bank. We have Kop kwa Jirani. You always see it in your neighborhood. We also have the platform that is internet banking, because I know no one wants to leave the comfort, right? In the bank, we have said, what are your challenges? We realize these youths don't have a security, because it's either you brought, unakuza unaulizwa, do you have a logbook? No. Do you have a title deed? No. So we are saying, let us start you gradually. Let us start you with even 50,000. Let us see how you repay it. Gradually, you will be there. If we trust you with 50,000 and secured, and I remember there is a case, like 7 years ago, we gave a customer a loan of 30,000. This customer didn't have security. And little time did we realize, now we are giving this customer 2 million. And little do we know now, we are giving him LCs to China and to Turkey doing the imports, right? So I would say, let us be agile as youth. Start with the little you have. Don't fear the banks. Always when you come to the bank, just be open. You know, people try to come up, you craft it with many words. I am looking for this and this, you know. Even that person will not understand. Just simply say your problems. And then it's upon the person who is serving you in cooperative bank. When you go, they are called business bankers, or in credit section. Tell them my problem is, I want maybe a pickup, like the way my colleague was there. And don't go and say, I want 3 million. That makes someone will say, I want 3 million. Another one person will come and say, I want a pickup.
Be very specific.
Yeah. Yes, be very specific. Because one thing you know, I'm telling you now, is coming down to you.
Yeah.
The bank, this money belongs to their people. And at the end of the year, we have to report profit.
So everyone is looking to make money. So,
yes.
okay.
No one wants to burn fingers.
Yeah.
Right? And we know, it's a research that has been done. If you give you money and you divert the money, for instance, if I give you 3 million, our lady who has an agrovet,
yes.
If you give you like 3 million, it's either you buy a stock, you stock it and it's so full, and maybe in that region no one is buying that. So by the end of it, or you have dead stock, when it comes to make your monthly obligation, you are not able to make it, and you are really scratching your head. Because either you are given that, it's assumed that stock, you have to pay it maybe within 3 years, or 2 years, or 1 year. But if you would have said, I wanted a pickup to transport or a ferry and deliver do the distribution to the local areas, someone will tell you, we can give you a pickup where we call it asset finance, and you don't have to scratch your head going and telling your mom or your dad or whoever, assist me the security. Okay. Whatever you are purchasing becomes the security, right?
Yes. So what I've gotten from this is that Co-op has very specific, you don't have to queue up at the bank. The products that you're offering, they're more young-minded, young people-minded, in that the ease of transacting the business there is easy. And also you've said, in your credit section, I believe, umesema kuna mtu unaenda unaambia specifically Kenya unataka kufanya. Don't beat around the bush, go like, I want 10 million. No. You have to tell them specifically what you want, and they can find a way. Still, the same applies. We're still asking questions that are specific to ourselves. If you do have a business and you're thinking of getting some financing, maybe from Co-op, even Andrew from ABSA will be back on stage. If you do have a question, make it very specific to your specific situation right now. So does anyone have a question for Co-op Bank right now? Very specific, yes?
I'm Monica. I'm a baker. I bake at home. I wanted to ask about the asset finance. Do you give... Use this one instead. Thank you. Do you give out large equipment, or you also do small equipment for beginners?
What I would want to know, how big, from your assessment, the need, the equipment you are looking for, they are at what level?
Okay. For example, let's say I have an oven,
yes,
and I don't have a mixer.
Yes.
Can you guys give me a mixer?
Yeah.
Even if I bake at home?
Yes.
Or okay.
So what would the process be? She's a baker, amazing. Tutakujia keki, by the way. She's a baker, amazing. She wants that mixer. What does she do? What does she do to get that from Co-op Bank?
Okay, what I've said that in Copper, we always appreciate and try to just being with you the journey. I know you are a baker and you are doing deliveries, right? So already you have maybe receipts. That is an evidence you have a business.
Records. Huh?
Yeah, the records. Records very important. You don't have to feel like I don't have maybe a place where I'm found. If you're able to prove that this is a business I'm doing, this is the level I am, will come at your level.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So are your records zako ziko poa? Ama how are your receipts like?
Ziko sawa.
Ziko sawa?
Yes.
So with those, if she brings her records and she can does she have to prove that she really needs the mixer and what it will do for her? Ama what does she have to prove that to the bank?
What she only need to prove to the bank, one, are the records that the business exists. That's very important. She also need to prove to us that she is bankable. At least she has done an effort. She got to have an account or have M-Pesa or whatever the platform that can be legally recognized as a way of banking.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sawa. Any other question? We are making it very specific hapa hivi. Hakuna kuuliza kitu general. Yes, there's a question there. As specific as you can go. And it could be also to Bwana Andrew or to Co-op Bank, wherever, because we're about to head to the end of this session. So yeah, make the question very specific and you can direct it to anyone that you want here.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Rose. My name is Cynthia and I'm from KTTI.
I graduated 2 years ago. Yes. Now, I have an account in Coop Bank. I'd like to know, is there an escrow account? I didn't clearly get when Mr. Andrew was explaining about it, so I'd like to know if my bank offers that. And when Corona came in, I started planting cabbages, onions in my father's land. But right now, ziko karibu kutoka.
So
nafaa kupeleka kwa market. I don't have transport. Yes, in my account, si ati niko na pesa hivyo. Most of it we invested in kupanda. Would my bank be able to push me, to help me in the transportation, even though I don't have like a substantial amount in the account?
So just before we get to that, you mentioned the escrow account is to guarantee the people supplying. What did you say the escrow account is about?
So an escrow account is an account that we would call an internal account that you as a customer doesn't have access to. The purpose of having an escrow account is to safeguard the interest of the bank. So you're expecting payments from Safaricom or EABL or whoever you supplied to. And then we are the ones who funded that transaction. So we would ask you to open an escrow account. That escrow account is actually under your name, but it is controlled by the bank. You do not have access to. So once money checks into that escrow account, maybe 10 million, and we financed you 8, we will take our 8 million and the remaining 2 million will be transferred into your normal current account. That's it.
So that is the escrow. So her question is to you, Rose, is does Coop Bank have that?
I'm okay?
Yes, you're okay.
Okay. Thank you for that question. In Coop Bank, we have escrow account, and also we have another account we call collateral account. What I will call escrow account in our situation is just an account that makes you disciplined. This is in terms of, as I said, we take care of our customer at different levels. Let's say we have bought for you a pickup and we have an MOU currently with the Total Kenya. We also have an MOU with Isuzu, as in you have seen that billboard.
Yes.
And with Isuzu, we are doing 95%.
Okay.
And on top of that, after financing you 95%, we are giving you a working capital. This working capital is to enable you to do the hustle.
Okay.
Of up to 300,000. And also taking care of the insurance. What we do with the escrow account, after we have given you that asset, we have bought for you that D-Max, or whatever it is, I know you are selling every day, isn't it? And you want to start paying your loan every day. So that the account you open for you, you accumulate your money there, right? So immediately, like you just come and tell, mimi siko disciplined, ebu nianzeni kuniekea pesa in this account. Definitely we do that for you, free of charge. We also have the collateral account. I know there is a case, you come to the bank, you are a supplier. The small way, maybe our lady here who is baking the cakes, and every day you have orders maybe from this corporate, you are doing nice cakes, and the traders are overwhelming you. We tell you, okay, you say, for me, I want to be disciplined enough, and I felt like the only way I need to have some savings, and maybe it's in case of that rainy day, I can access that money. Either I can take a loan against it, or someone has given you cash to start the business against that money. Maybe you have that good uncle. He or she has given you 3 million and told you, "Hii pesa nimekupea, but I don't want you to access it." We put it in that collateral account. It's also an account you can build from 0 shillings, and you don't have access to that account. It's not linked to your ATM. It's not linked to your MCOP Cash, that is the mobile banking platform, is not linked to your internet banking or Omni, like for our customer over there. So I think we have tried to be agile to make it fit in your whatever the needs are. And also we are saying we are still listening to you. We are you. Let us collaborate. Let us keep on telling us these our needs, and we are with you.
And for the transport, you asked about the transportation issue. I guess that's really an issue of you figuring out how you want to get your product and where you want to take it to. I don't believe the bank can. Oh, what was specifically your question on that? The bank can only help in the way that a bank can. Did you want like help in the transportation or financing that transportation, or what did you mean?
Yes, that was
So-
my question.
Okay, so you've already set up the people who are doing the transportation for you, ama unataka kununua gari?
Not a car.
Uh-huh.
Even if it's, my idea was,
Eh.
I have these people who have cars, na naeza hire out.
Okay.
Would the bank come in for me, and on what grounds they
Okay.
come in for me?
From your case, you want just the transport.
Yes, because the produce is out.
Mali iko.
Iko.
Mali
Mali
iko.
safi iko. Lakini saa kufikisha kwa market ndio
Yes.
imekuwa issue.
Hiyo ndio noma.
And that's
Bank yangu itaingiaje? Itanisaidiaje?
bank yako itaingia hivi. Kwanza, we can give you that, like if it's business that you are doing like a going concern, we can give you that option of buying your own. Gradually you are paying, and eventually it becomes yours as you transport your own cabbage. You also transporting for the other farmers who are your neighbors, or you do like group, but them they are paying you also as you transport, and you are for now paying the cost of those inconveniences where you go to look for it and you don't get it. The other option could be a working capital. This is where you need the money, just small amount of money to facilitate you, get a hire, like 2,000. You just need to do your budget and say, within 1 month, I'll be out through selling these cabbages, isn't it? And this is like 50,000 or 100,000. So just get a small working capital, pay it within maybe 3 months or 6 months, and you are good to go.
Would that work for you? It would? Okay. Sawa. So, Madam Rose, you can have a seat. Asante sana for that. I feel like people are being afraid to ask questions here. So I want to ask right now, because we're talking to the people who've started their manufacturing. You're doing your business up over. Who here is in manufacturing? Who's actually doing a biashara right now? Apart from the people you've already spoken to. Nani akona biashara hapa hivi hajaongea? On this table, and anyone has a business or is thinking of starting one, because you need to go specific. What do you do? What do you do? You put up your hand. Okay, you're thinking of starting. What is that?
My business venture was kuweka kuku. And for it, it's starting from the basics of I need also the chicken house construction. Yeah.
Okay.
So how does the whole funding go about? Yeah.
So biashara ya kuku. Oh, you can keep the mic for now. Biashara ya kuku. You haven't you started it already, or you're thinking of starting it?
I'm thinking of starting.
Okay. Remember what Amina said. Like you start unaanza tu kidogo. Like not going like for a loan ya 10 million, 15 million, and then you're realizing, hii ni noma. So in your plan, you are starting small, yes?
Yeah, I'm starting small.
So where in that bit would you need the financing? The coop, the chicken house? Where would you need
my starting is from the whole concept. Because when I was doing the calculations, it was the support of this chicken from the moment I get it to the point of selling.
Okay.
That means it's feedings, the whole medical, vaccines, thank you. Whether it is the truth, everything I had tried to do, even the feeds, everything. But now I'm starting also from the structure of the chicken. That's an added cost that in me I was not considering. So it has gone higher than
you expected.
Than I had expected.
You see, what I'm liking from your story is that you've actually you're telling us the things that you actually researched on. Si ati ulisema tu nataka kufanya hivi. You've put down your costs and everything. And they're all you've recorded, and these are the kind of records. I don't know, Rose, is this what you need to see as a bank even before you touch something?
What I would say as a bank, we really look on the existence, like even 1 month. And if you don't have, for instance, like you have not started, maybe you have some background like experience. This experience could generally not be books, but maybe you have, maybe somebody has been mentoring you on the same. So it's just a matter of like the issue of guaranteeing where it can come from, where you are starting, like the way you are saying there's somewhere already given and all that. The other thing we also look on the projections. Generally, we look at the field. We normally have departments which help us in researching. It's called a business proposal. Once you bring it forth, we escalate it depending with the various sectors, depending on the sectors you are in, and if it's found to be viable, you are well to go. Financing you'll get, yes. But we still have other businesses where projections, so it's like 100% guarantee, so that one is like no much is given. But good to know as a bank, when every like loan we give insurance against it, especially like if you'd want to do chicken, because I know these are things that at one point maybe you can lose all of it, and considering your money is there and it's still a loan, it's always we ensure that everything is done properly. Yeah.
And also, as Bona Andrew had mentioned, sometimes if your comments on startups, because I'm going back to that, not startups, not like you're trying to start and then immediate. What were your specific comments? I don't want to misquote you. What was your specific comments on startups?
Now, we will shy away from startups. We will talk and deal with businesses that have been in existence for 2-3 years. Why are we saying this? The risk associated with a startup, it's a green area. It's an area probably you've not tried out. You've not gone through the learning curves to see the mistakes. You've not gotten the experience around this area. And I remember Flora Mutahi's presentation here earlier in the morning. She mentioned that you need to start on your own. Start it off. Use your savings, borrow here and there from family and friends. And then at some point now, the bank comes in to give you that oomph to propel you to the next level. Any business that has been in existence for a year, 2 or 3, doing their 3rd year, has enough experience. You can go and refer to their records, their data, and see how the business has been performing. A green area, no. I hope that clarifies the point very well. But again, we want to mention this and let it be very clear that if you are a startup and then you're feeding into a major corporate, for instance, you're starting off as a supplies, you've gotten an LPO from, say, Safaricom, you've gotten an LPO from Coca-Cola, you've gotten an LPO from EABL, in whatever business that you do, we are able to engage and support you in that arrangement. That we do. Thank you.
Does that kind of make things clear for you?
Yes, but I don't have an LPO with Safaricom.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
You will definitely get there.
Not yet. So
all you need to do is to start.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
So I think that's very important advice, not even specific to any bank, in that if you start with your savings up or borrow some cash from your friends. There's one big producer, what's his name? The one who did Young Rich. I'm sure my producer knows the guy. He said if you don't have friends, you can at least borrow like 2K, 3K from him. He said 100. I don't know what kind of friends that he has, but he said if your friends can't change into your business, then you need to change your friends. You need to find people who believe in your business. So if you start from there, the bank can come later to give you that push. And also keep in mind, in that time utakuwa umehustle na umetafuta utoto vitu tudogo, then you'll be able to learn your business and figure out, do you want to maintain that course of action? Do you want to invest all your money and your time into that one? Ama utaona hii biashara acha niende huku kwingine. So that's really good. You see what amazing conversations are coming from people sharing specific stories. Who else has a business they're starting or they have right now or they're thinking of starting? Anyone here on this table? Nimemalizana na hii table? Nobody? No? No? Are you sure? Okay.
Okay, my name is Jacinta. Hi, Jacinta. I'm from PC Kinyanjui Technical Training Institute. And I studied civil engineering. I graduated there, and now I'm employed there. And it's very encouraging to me because I'm starting to grow now. And my account is equity. I've heard from friends that cooperative is good and everything, but I'm not quite sure about it because I understand that some money, when you put your account in cooperative, each and every month, they cut. Why? That actually scares me to start a business with Coop. I don't know why, but maybe you can explain it to me because I'm planning to put a hardware. I don't know where I can go. You understand me?
Every month that you wanakata kitu.
I've had. I don't know.
Who else has had these
at
stories?
least this is. I'm here with the Coop guys. You
Yes.
I'm an equity member.
A lot of people know. Show of hands. Who's had these stories? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey. Okay, Rosa, over to you.
Okay, thank you for the question. The issue on cutting every month, I think we call them ledger fees. But as I said earlier, in our discussion, what you have done as a bank, we have done segmentation of our market and discovered the needs. We have learned from our mistakes, and we have an account for the youths, we call it here. That is Innovators account. That's an account that takes care of your needs with no monthly deductions. We also give you a discount. We give you an account. That one enables you to save mdogo mdogo ama kidogo kidogo and with no charges. However, too much is given, much is expected. For those in businesses, like you have formalized, you have registered, we have MSME accounts, and we are saying, let us deduct small amount to see your commitment. We do 100 bob per month. That's what we are calling MSME. But these are just the money to take care of, like just a registration for you. Because this is like a platform where we use even to know how much we will give you. So I would say we have even an account doing even 10,000 in a month. But it's always good. That's why we say when you come to the bank, just be open. Tell us my business is at this stage. This is my fears are at this, and this is where I am. So I think we just grow with you. We'll grow with you from zero as we go up until I'll be waiting for you, where will be our gold customer. And telling me or telling you 10,000, you are like, okay, because you have a dedicated relationship manager for you who is with you when you are sick, relationship manager with you when you are very happy, when going to the gym, and even in everything. So when we tell you that time, just pay 10,000, you'll be okay. At this stage, when we are paying zero, we are still good with you. Thank you.
Okay, asante sana. Is your question answered? We're about to get to the end. We have about 4 minutes to go in this session. So make sure if you have a question, hand up immediately. Bona Andrew, you had something for us.
Oh, yeah. I also just wanted to mention that we have an account called Absa One. Absa One for both personal and business. And this account does not attract any monthly charges. So there'll be no ledger fee at the end of the month. That is one of the most exciting products we brought in as we transition from Barclays to Absa. It's called Absa One. It can be a business account, it can be a personal account. 0 ledger charges. Thank you.
Okay, Absa One. Any questions before I ask? I have one of my own before I get to the next question. Who mentioned the thing about insuring a loan? Was it you, Rose? Maybe tell us, did everyone understand that, or it's just me who's kind of in the mitini about that one? Kila mtu alielewa hiyo? The concept of insuring a loan. You mentioned that and I thought that sounds interesting.
What I would say?
It's on. Yeah.
The reason we insure our loans, this is a way of trying to put away fear.
What does it mean to insure a loan? Specific, like what does it mean? Like let's say I'm starting biashara ya kuku and then I take a loan from you. What does it mean when you've insured my loan?
For example, I'll give you an example in a person in agribusiness.
Okay.
Maybe someone like our environs here is Kiambu, Kajiando, and all that. I think here in Nairobi, some sections you still do agriculture, like maybe Kikuyu and Kino. These people in cows, all those things, the life animals, there is tendency somehow they can die. You can you can come take a loan, and the next day the cow is gone.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate if you had not insured that cow, because maybe the loan was 100,000 or 200,000. You'll find yourself, now you are paying a loan and the cow is gone.
Okay.
So to ensure as much, we also insure yourself in case where you, the person who is taking a loan, we also insure you in case of a death. Us as a bank, we are not losing. But that case, the cow has died. But you as an individual, you are still up and running.
Yeah.
So we still expect you to be servicing that loan. To avoid that, we ensure that cow, just like the way you insure your vehicle under comprehensive insurance.
Ensure the assets that I'm taking the loan against, and also myself as the biashara person.
Yes.
Okay, my question is answered. That's really interesting. And Absa have that as well, of course. Yes. Hapa hivi watu wanapigana, so you have to make sure the playing ground is even. Okay, 2 last questions and then we're done. Wacha tuanzie up and then we'll get to you in just a bit. Yes.
Okay, mine is she has talked about insuring. What if I want to insure my business, but I keep on growing? My stock keeps on adding. So the amount I insured initially is not the same amount I have after 2 months, after 5 months. Do I keep on renewing, or what do I do? Because the amount they came and looked at is not the same amount that I still have on the stock.
What I think she's talking about is about stock hypothecation. So we say that business is a journey. So we keep on growing with you. In the bank, I don't know whether any of you has taken a loan before with you, but there is something we call a graduation. A graduation scale in the bank means like this. If the first day you came, you took a loan of 200,000, you have serviced it within maybe 2 or 6 months, you are done. We also expect like holding all factors constant. We expect also your business has grown. This is in terms of a stock, if it's a stock-based business, because we have different type of businesses. And at this time, we are also to graduate you on that level. This is what we do even when we are doing the cooperatives. I know Cooperative Bank has been known to be banking on cooperatives. These are the societies that do coffee. These are the societies that do tea, because we know those things, they don't have security, but we use their stock. Yeah.
Would that work for you?
Yeah, she has answered.
Okay. Last question. Tukaribie. Karibia at least camera kuone. Umejificha sana, madam. Karibia.
A question similar to hers. The insurance, does it come in a depend na hiyo size ya kenye unaleta inakuwa insured, and the cost of insuring, is it from my side or from your side, and will it be included in the loan or it's being given earlier? Yeah.
Okay, we have exactly 20 seconds to answer the.
And how friendly is the cost?
Okay, 20 seconds, Madam Rose. Pressure is on.
I'm liking this discussion. In the banks, we normally have, the way we are talking about the insurance, somehow it has commensurate with whatever you are taking. If you are buying you a pickup that is worth the 3 million, the industry requires you, it is norm is a certain percentage that applies to that. If we are giving you a loan, we have given you maybe 200,000. If we're insuring you, it's a percentage based on that. So it just applies as per the standard in the market. And what happens, sometimes one has no money also to pay for that insurance. If I tell you to pay upfront, you also don't have the cash.
Yeah.
So we also do something we call like IPF. This is where we do a friendly way. Maybe you are supposed to pay a one-off premium of 40,000, a one-off premium of 5,000 if it's like a cow, and we realize you don't have, we give you a way of paying mdogo,
Okay.
like maybe in 10 months.
Okay. Okay. Sawa. We need to maliza the breakout session. Can we get last words, Ama? We'll get them when the WIM people. Last words from Andrew and from Rose as well. But Andrew, do you want to go first? Rose, you have the microphone. Go first. Last words.
What I would say, don't fear banks. Is a good partner for your business. Just identify that bank and work with them. Just be open. Ensure it's a relationship. Just cement it well. Be cooperative. When things are tough, just be open to them. Don't run away. What I'll tell you for sure, when we joined the industry, the youth were kind of people could fear us, because when we're in problem, we sit back and we are no longer, we switch off our phones and everything. So as a youth, keep on building the trust. Just prove the other people wrong. As an individual, I'll tell you, we have youths below that years and they're our best customers.
Yes. Excellent. So don't fear banks. Okay. 15 seconds, Bwana Andrew.
Thank you very much. I think for me, take out from this session is that banks are there to support you. Banks are here to support you. ABSA is here to support you. ABSA is here to bring possibilities to your business. Partner with us. It's a journey. It's a relationship that we will build. You will never regret it. The products that we have are amazing. They are here to support you, make sure that your business grows, you earn your money, and you build an empire from that. Thank you very much.
Build an empire. I love it. Asanteni sana for getting involved in this breakout session. We're just about to invite the other group from the videos. We're about to play some videos, but right now, after the videos, after we're done seeing the videos, the people who'd gone to the SME and the women in manufacturing side are going to join us. And of course, one of the most exciting things on this program, apart from the closing remarks from Sally, is something that they call here lunch. I'm seeing lunch is on the menu, so that is one of the most exciting things here. So stay tuned for lunch. Lunch is coming, but we have a few videos lined up for you guys that we'll love to see. So check it out. And kumbuka, if you're sharing anything on social media, hashtag WIMKE and the other hashtag Youth in Industry, and tag us at CAM on Instagram and Twitter, Kenya Association of Manufacturers on Facebook.
Today on Come Live, I'm going to have an amazing conversation with an amazing woman, the founder of Azavi Foods, and she's going to tell us her journey as a manufacturing SME in Kenya.
My name is Paulino Kubasu. I am the founder and CEO of Azavi Foods. So after research, I started getting information on how do I bridge that gap of market access from the farm to the fork, to the end consumer. And at that time also Kenyans were getting to know, to embrace nutrition, eating, we are starting to become healthy conscious. So just wondering also, how do I meet the nutritional needs of the Kenyan people? So I decided that I needed to offer organic products that are of good quality, they're tasty, and for me to do that I needed to partner with certified farmers that are doing organic farming and have gone through the training so that food is safe from the time it is farmed, the time it goes through the value chain of production, and then to the end consumer. If the government would have more hubs created, because there's so many SMEs that are in the same, who are experiencing the same challenges I am, they need to scale up but can't because there's no facility they can move to, because owning your own facility is quite expensive. Yeah? So having that hand-holding support either from the government or from associations like CAM that are lobbying for us would really help. So it motivates you and inspires you knowing that you're in the same journey that they were in at some point. They're able to point out the loopholes so that you do not waste a lot of time following a certain process that will take you too long. They have industry experience, they have a wider network, so they're able to link you with the right people.
In your line, or what do you feel is the future for SMEs in this country?
We'd be looking at the economy, building a strong economy. We'd be having less youth seated out there with no work, because employment will have been created. We'll be seeing more industries coming up. We'll be seeing a hub where investors want to come in and help, or even we could be the ones investing in other countries, and especially Africa. I'm excited to know that the Africa Free Trade Agreement is coming up, because it will offer a market space for many other entrepreneurs to trade from one region to the other within Africa. So we become a hub within Africa where we're able now to take our products to other continents.
That was Pauline, the founder of Azavi Foods. This is Come Live. See you next time.
I'm very positive about manufacturing, and especially manufacturing in Kenya. We have to be competitive. Competitiveness is the most key important thing if we want to be in the game in manufacturing. And that holds not only for manufacturing in Kenya, but also for the global markets, for exports as well. Women, as it is, are very strong leaders and have seen to be strong leaders. We have seen more women coming into the corporate world and taking up leadership roles. We also seen how women...
Sessions have been really interesting. We got to some amazing conversations here in this room. What did you guys do over in the other room?
It was quite an interesting plenary session and very intimate, because these are people that for the first time wako macho kwa macho.
In what? Mano y mano.
They are in the same room with their bankers, and they have personal questions, issues that have been bugging them over the years about their businesses. And some issues came up. For example, bankability. What are banks looking for? When you have a complaint with regards to your money, how do you go about it? What are banks looking for in terms of a track record before they give you money? Because they said the days of collateral are gone. So what relationship can we foster? What kind of security do you have so we can give you money?
I guess we got to similar things here. For us, it was also a concept of sometimes do you really need, because when you're going to a bank, at Andrew ametuambia, sometimes, not all the times, money is bad. You can't just go into a bank and go like, I want money, and then inaenda wapi. So we learned about the way that you have to figure out the amount of the money that you need, how you have to be very specific to your bank, as Rose told us. Go to your bank and tell them, by then, me, I want a pickup. Not going to go like, I want 5 million Kenya shillings.
Yeah.
So we've learned about the ways that we can approach banks and approach finance in whichever ways, and also the importance of keeping records and being that much more bankable, because you have your records, you can show where the money is coming from, where the money is going. In that way, you become even more bankable, which was amazing.
I mean, something really important came up in our session, and I'd just like to give the microphone to the gentleman for 30 seconds. And he said, always talk to your banker, even when you're not borrowing. And you know, that's really interesting, because you think you go to the bank to just borrow. If you could just 30 seconds, just tell everybody why they need to talk to their banker.
I just got here my banker. I just got here him. Ama, like I just go like, niaje Buddha, habari ya weekendi.
I think this is what we talked about on the breakout session on the other side.
Yes.
And I'm glad, and I'm with my boss here. And what we said is, if when you're coming to the bank, the relationship starts from the onboarding stage. And what we give you is my contacts and my boss contacts. In the event that you raise something that I didn't address correctly, then you take it to him. Number two, what we talked about is, anytime we are having a relationship, it is not about money all the time. Sometimes, talk to your banker because you need advice, not because you want money. Tell them that this is where I want to go, and please hold my hand. Just information. And we are ready to give it.
Amazing. Okay. Not just for money, but for advice and hand holding as well, which is nice. We all need a hand to hold, someone to lead us through.
Because you've raised a pertinent point. Sometimes you go to the bank thinking you need 1 million, yet you just need 500
Anakwambia,
grand.
tunataka nini? Fanya hivi na hivyo. Okay, amazing conversations. In case you have any more questions, we have representatives from the Kenya Association of Manufacturers here, representatives from the banks. We're going to network as we have lunch. Very exciting. We're going to have lunch in just a bit. But before that, we have the head of corporate communications and the WIM coordinator right here to give her closing remarks. Welcome to the stage, Madam Sally Kahio. Karibu sana. A round of applause. A round of applause. This is... Do
you want me on the stage, Mina? Okay. Yes? Okay.
We have to clap again, right? Well,
guys, how are you? I am so glad that the energy is still in the room. That's one of the things that I told these two, because they're young. And I was like, I do not want to see people's energies that is imeenda chini. So I can take my 2 full hours. Sindio? No, I mean, of course, me and lunch are in the same WhatsApp, so I'm not going to keep you. I'm so glad that you could take time to be here today and to give your insight. I think it's really incredible. The times are changing. Evolution is a wonderful thing, because many institutions, when they were created, and I'm glad that even the Kenya Bankers Association acknowledged it in their presentation, these institutions were not created with women and young people in mind. They were not. They were not created for you to walk in there and give your perspectives and say what your needs are. They could not even envision women. I mean, short of wearing a Batman suit and ramming a Rolls Royce through the door, nobody would even give you so much as a glance, really. So as a woman, if you even walk into the hall, people look at you like you've grown 2 heads. Like, what is this one even doing here? And you start to speak and nobody can understand your language, because the space was not designed to understand your language. Now we are having banks coming here where we are meeting, because you know what you guys did? The ingenuity of young people and women throughout history is that you went and started creating your own spaces. Look at what you did with chamas, merry-go-rounds. You went and created spaces where these guys were like, I think they are creating a revolution over there and we are missing out. In the next 10 years, we are not going to be relevant if we do not speak to these people. So they came to you. But what we are challenging banks to do today, and I'm so glad that you guys came and you're showing other banks the way. By the way, a round of applause for the ladies and gentlemen at that corner. Because as I said, evolution is a great thing. So what banks are now seeing is that short of, more than just looking and seeing us and seeing and acknowledging that we are there, acknowledge our humanity, our personhood as well. That means take into consideration our differences and our diversity. So don't just come and tell me I launched Pink in Heels product for women. What is that? Which women? What do you mean women? Who does women cover? Amina has talked about it. There's many, many groups of women. So I think it's a wonderful thing that we can sit and co-develop, but we've also today, and I think if you are in those breakout sessions, seen that there's a lot of work to be done. Our languages are not yet synced. We are not yet synced. So you have targets, we understand, and you want to give us money. But do the people that you report to know what challenges you're facing in communicating some of these things to us? You know? So sometimes even the bank, your historical structures, you are the young people they've sent here today, and you're very great representatives. But please go and advise them that sometimes their historical structures need to be nimble, agile, malleable. Because that's what the young people and the women in the room are today. Some young people are innovators. There's a young man who created a plane. I think there's a young man who made a plane in Nyeri a few years back. We don't know what happened to that guy, and that's the saddest part of the story, is that we don't know what happened to that plane. So if I come and I have a prototype of a machine, and I'm talking to the banks, and I want you to seed this prototype from today till it gets to market, can you give me that support? Some young people are enablers. I want to start a YouTube channel to give legal or HR advice to manufacturing specific companies. Can you help me buy the equipment that I need, the lights, the cameras that Mina and his crew are using? Can you help? Because it's a viable career. And out of the millions of YouTube channels that are out there, I want to start this specific one to help local manufacturing become competitive. So how are you going to help me? And do you even see it as something worth investing in? And some young people are healers. They put things back together. I want to do recycling and upcycling. I want to go into the waste, tuko dandora. I want to pick things and I want to make them into something valuable. Can you invest in my business? So I think those are the conversations and those are the questions I will leave you with today. To the women and to the young people in the room today, I would like to say thank you so much. Continue to believe in this country. Sometimes we do things to make you not believe in the country. But believe it or not, during the dark times, during COVID, we kept praying that you guys will not shut down. If this country had a chance to, if this country has a chance to bounce back, we will be relying on you, your dreams, and your visions. So to the young visionaries, I say keep having visions, keep dreaming, keep bringing your ideas. Kenya Association of Manufacturers is here to support you through different programs, the SME Hub, TVET, we have the Women in Manufacturing program. So we are here to support you, and we are here to see you through this. And the fights that you're having, Amina, KEBS, KRA, we are there with you. You're not alone. So we talk to them every day, so we tell them these things. So thank you so much. Thank you to GIZ for partnering with us, for making this transformative space possible. I would like us to continue doing this often because we had to cut short a very spirited conversation in the other room, and I think you too. So I think we need to have this more often so that we can get to solutions and tangible solutions. We are not ticking boxes. That's what I said today. We are not, it's not for ABSA to come and say, oh, by the way, we had this really great product and we launched, and today we put them to task. And they said, no, we actually have these things. Now come, we'll tell you how we can give you this money. So I think let's do that. Thank you to GIZ, thank you to the Ministry of Youth and the PS for coming here today, although he had to leave early. I would like to thank also the WIM Steering Committee, led by our chair, Ms. Flora Mutahi. The CEO of CAM for coming here today. CAM team led by the TVET coordinator. I don't know if she's in the room. She's outside? Wow, okay. Miranda Pendo, who's also made this possible. The Women in Manufacturing team, Rosehilda Kamanga, please stand up and wave. Round of applause to the young women. Faith Chebet, stand up and wave. Salimia Mafans. And Grace Mbogo, I think, who's outside. So thank you. And guys, we'll be reaching out to you more and more. So please, if you are thinking of joining, oh, Miranda Pendo, please. Round of applause to that young lady. Thank you, thank you. She's actually thinking of taking this kind of conversation countrywide. So it's because of her that we'll be going to different chapters in CAM offices to have this conversation with young people such as yourselves and women such as yourselves. Thank you, Miranda. And to our wonderful hosts and hostess. It's been amazing, and you guys are full of fire, and I wish we could, can we just transport you everywhere we'll be going to have these conversations? We'll talk. So yes, not keeping my word and not standing between you and your lunch, I'll hand back over to you. Asante.
One round of applause for Sally as she leaves the stage. Charlie?
And one more time, just a quick round of thanks. Thank you to the bankers for being here, the banks, KCB, Corp Bank, ABSA, you guys have been amazing. The Kenya Bankers Association as well for being represented here. And also GIZ, aka Deutsche Gesellschaft für International Zusammenarbeit Arbeit. Okay. Thank you so much to GIZ for I have been practicing. I'm like at 70% now. Thank you so much, and thank you to you, each and every single person here today. You've made these conversations possible and made this entire event possible. And we as young people, as the women and youth, we are the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And asante sana. I have been your host. My name is Charlie Karomi. Is this where we do our quick plugs?
What?
Telling people where to watch us.
Yes. Oh my God, we have to, because banks have told us what